Hey everybody, it's free agency day, and we're starting a bit early with 3 minutes to go in the window. But this is the NBA and NHL free agency hangout day. We'll see how this goes, as many signings in the NBA have already begun 2 days ago, looks like. And the 76ers have signed Paul George to a 4 year, $212 million deal, as well as Kelly Oubre Jr. to a 2 year, $16.3 million deal, and Tyrese Maxey to a 5 year, $240 million deal. So those Sixers have been busy. Justin Minaya, and this just in, Carolina re-signs the Hurricanes do with a Jordan Martinook 3 years and $3.3 million, $3.05 million for the next 3 years. Jacob Chikrin traded to Washington for Nick Jensen and a 2026 third. Stolars has signed a 2 year, $2 million per with the Leafs, and we will keep the news rolling if anybody shows up here in the next little while as we head to the 9 o'clock hour. Also, the Bulls have signed Jalen Smith to a 3 year, $27 million. Eubanks to the Jazz for 2 years and $10 million. Thunder Aaron Wiggins, 5 years, $47 million. Thunder Isaiah Joe, 4 years, $48 million. And Luca Garza to the Timberwolves for a 2 year deal. Well, who knows how this goes? That is all the NBA action. Now let's head over to the NHL. Jonathan Marshall has signed a 5 year, $5.5 million deal with Nashville. Oh my goodness. Money's flying on free agency day to day. We have a lot going on today. Jacob Chikrin has already been traded. Washington is expected to sign Matt Roy to a 7 year, $5.5 million deal. It's all happening. Maxi, George to the 76ers. They've been busy. Oubre Jr. re-signed, and it is a day and a half here. Someone wake up Pat Riley. There we go. Well, let's see. I got the NBA tracker going here. You re-signed Kevin Love, isn't that something, bro? We've got free agency on both sides today, and it's been crazy. Here we go. It is the free agent frenzy. Tyler Toffoli is going to San Jose. There's been trades in hockey already. Stollers has gotten to Toronto. What are your thoughts on these big deals? For example, 2-year, $10 million deal for Andre Drummond. Oh my goodness, it's a busy day. If I can't keep up with it all, forgive me. We're doing the best we can with what we're working with today. Blackhawks signed Laurent Brossoit to 2 years, $3.3 million. Sam Lafferty is 2 years, over $2 million. Oh my God! OLE to Toronto, 4 years, 3.5 million. I have not heard anything on Big Z yet. Um, but if you hear something before I do, let me know. It's coming fast and furious. The Spurs have signed Chris Paul for some reason. Jonas Valanciunas, though, is a wizard for 3 years, $30 million. Mason Plumlee, 1 year contract with Phoenix. This is going to be insane. Insane day. All this money spent, and I don't know what to tell you. The Devils have agreed to Brett Pesce, 6 years, 5.5 million. Oh my goodness, I'll have to do a recap video on all this when the day is done. But we're just hanging out, waiting for NBA news and such as the like. There we go. June 30th. Kevin Porter, 2 year contract. Everybody's spending money. The Lakers got Max Christie for 4 years, $32 million. Obi Toppin, 4 years for the Pacers at $60 million. Cade Cunningham with his 5 year, $226 million. Nuggets re-signed DeAndre Jordan for 1 year and 3.6 million. 4 years, $44 million for Royce O'Neal. Oh my goodness, guys. These numbers are crazy. Again, Paul George going to the 76ers to play with Joel Embiid. And they got Kelly Oubre Jr. for 2 years, $16.3 million, and Tyrese Maxey, 5 years, $204 million. Guys, it's been a big one. It's been a big one today. I can't even keep up with it all, but I'm trying. Yeah, that PG move going to Philly is kind of something else, dude. I think that's going to make a big difference, especially when you got Joel Embiid, Tyrese Maxey, and Paul George. You have Tyrese Maxey as your number three guy. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Big news out of the Bruins camp. They just got Lindholm and Zadorov. The Bruins just got Lindholm and Zadorov. Oh my goodness, it's going down today, brother. People are spending ridiculous amounts of money. Let me tell you. Ian Cole to Utah, 1 year, $3.1 million. But Boston Bruins have landed both Elias Lindholm and Nikita Zadorov from Vancouver. So no details have been released yet, but oh man, that just came down, dude. I'm with you. Brett Pesci, 6 million times 5.5 for that guy in New Jersey. Oh, dude, the Bruins just sniped the Canucks picks there. And I don't know what to tell you, dude. This is gonna be a crazy day. And I'm just gonna hang out and watch the TV and watch my Twitter feed. The Bruins pick up Zadorov and Lindholm. Oh my goodness. I don't even want to know the contract signings on that one. What's up, man? It's a crazy day. The Bruins just got Lindholm and Zadorov there, Roy, as well as a bunch of other moves. Flames are closing in on Jake Bean. Toivo Teravainen gets a 3-year deal in Chicago. It's going crazy, guys. Everybody is spending money. OEL to Toronto along with Tanev. Bertuzzi, Tyler Bertuzzi is going to the Blackhawks. Oliver Ekman Larson gets a 4-year, $3.5 million deal. Guys, this is just crazy. Tell me what's going on here. Everybody's spending money like there is no tomorrow. David Perron, 2-year deal with the Sens for $8 million. Guys, it's going crazy. Hey, I'm gonna be here, boys, but yeah, it's nuts right now. So I'm gonna be here. I don't know who's all showing up, but it's crazy. I don't know quite what to tell you. If you get an update, Roy, let me know. Yeah, that's cool, buddy. Zone in and out. Whoa, Stamkos to Nashville 4 times 8 million. Just before you go, Roy, Stamkos to Nashville 4 times $8 million. Nashville, Brady Seki 7 times 7. Nashville is spending money. Oh my goodness. Stamkos gets 4 times 8 from the Preds. Wow, that's something. 7 times 7 for Brady Segai. That's 49 million to him. Marshall, the Nashville Predators have picked up 3 free agents already. Oh my goodness, boys. What's going to be a trade? Stamkos is a free agent. Tampa let him walk. Wow, 4 years, $8 million. This has been a crazy day. Stamkos to Nashville for $32 million, 4 times 8, along with Marshall. And oh my goodness, everything's going down, boys. Everything's going down now. Ekman Larson, Martinook resigns in Carolina. I have word on the Lindholm trade or the Lindholm signing. Elias Lindholm signs a 7-year deal with the Bruins for $7.75 million. Whew. The Bruins are spending money again. That's 7 years, seven times $7.75 million for Elias Lindholm. It's being reported that Warren Fogle has gone to market and will not be returning to the Oilers. Not surprised there. Oh, Victor Arvidsson to Edmonton. Elliot Friedman is reporting Victor Arvidsson to Edmonton. We'll see what the numbers are on that one. And oh my goodness, this has been a day waiting for the Arvidsson numbers to Edmonton. Oh my goodness. What a day, what a day. If you're here, drop a like, let people know we're here, and join in the conversation. But Victor Arvidsson went from LA to Edmonton in free agency, which is good because they just, yeah, you got Kevin Love. I don't know how that helps you, Roll. I don't know how that helps you. It's been pretty quiet on the NBA front so far, but the hockey news is insane. Yep. Kevin Love 2-year $10 million deal, I believe is what it was. The Preds are spending money. And there's the Leafs Anthony Stolarz, 2 years, $2.5 million per. Hold on, guys. I am on the phone. Arvidsson. Jason Zucker to Buffalo. It's an absolute fast. Noah Gregor to Ottawa on a 1-year deal, 850K. Do we have any basketball news to report? I will go to the NBA tracker in just a moment here. Nope. The NBA news is staying stagnant, but if he feels up to it, G will be joining me to cover the NBA half of this as well. Derek Forbert, defenseman to the Canucks. So it's not a great pickup, but you picked up a defenseman in Vancouver. Derek Forbert, 2 years times 4 million per for Arvidsson to Edmonton. Oh my goodness gracious, guys! Derek Forbert is on his way to Vancouver to fortify that defense after losing Zadorov, which I know is not going to make Canuck fans happy, but there it is. Here we go. Here we go. The news just keeps flowing, boys. We've only been here for 20 minutes. 2 years, 4 million AAV for Arvidsson. The news just keeps on flowing. So you guys tell me, what do you think so far has been the biggest move in free agency? Is it Paul George going to the Sixers? What do you all think here? Oh my goodness, there's been so much happening today. The Preds are the big winners in the NHL, along with the Leafs getting Tanev and OEL, and the Preds getting Stamkos, Marshall, and Brady Sagey from Colorado. This is a crazy day. We got more news coming from Twitter. 6 times 5 for Zadorov too. So not only did they give Lindholm $7 million, but and Brendan Dillon's going to the Devils. This is a crazy day. The news is coming so fast. The news is just coming so fast. So if you need to hear it, I'll repeat it. Jason Zucker to Buffalo, 1 year, $5 million deal. That's why I combined these things, because there's no way I would have been able to keep up with just an NBA deal or an NHL deal. Sharon Govich to the Flames to a 5 year extension per his agent. We'll see how that goes. Elias Lindholm and Nikita Zadorov both go from Vancouver to Boston. That's got to be a gut punch for Canuck fans. I don't know what to tell you. I'm just hanging out today. I'm going to let the news speak for itself, and we'll see how this goes. Pat Riley's not awake yet, Ro. He's still snoozing. Must be. Derek Forbert is a Canuck, so the Canuck fans did not lose out completely, but it's probably not what they wanted to this point in the day. So much news has happened. So much. And hold on, I will be back shortly. Okay, I'm back. What I miss? What I miss? Did I miss anything? Hold on, I got a new look for you guys here. Just 1 second. Virtual background. Add. Hold on. Let me see here what is going on. What did I miss? If anything. Here we go. There we go. Oh, wait, that doesn't come out right. But anyways, we've got a bit of a new look here on the channel. A little bit cleaner, a little bit nicer, not as blue. Canucks Jake DeBrusk, 7 years, $5.5 million. Jake DeBrusk is a Canuck. So the Canucks are making moves today. Let me just say here. How are we doing? How are we doing? Canucks general manager Alvin about to speak. You know what? I'm going back to the old one. I'll just go back to this. Here we go. Here we go. On with the show. Oh, the Canucks got Jake DeBrusk from Boston. So you're basically you're basically taking Boston's players. Well, they're taking yours. That's where that sits. So take that for what it's worth. Jake DeBrusk to Boston or Jake DeBrusk to Vancouver. Seven times 5.5. And the Kings have agreed to terms with Joel Edmondson, 4 years, $3.8 million. William Carrier, 6 years, $2 million. It's going down today, brother. Kevin Stenlund to Utah, 2 years, $2 million. It's going crazy, guys. Sean Monahan agrees to a 5 year, $27.5 million deal with the Columbus Blue Jackets. And Connaughton, a 2 year deal worth $775 with Utah. So everybody's spending money today. Stamkos is on TSN if you want to listen to him. I don't know what to tell you. Matt Murray is staying in Toronto. 1 year, $875,000. Everybody's spending money. And if you need a recap on this today, guys, my breakfast just got here, so I'm gonna mute my mic and my camera so you guys don't have to watch me eat. I appreciate y'all, and I'll be back shortly. We will see what happens now. Danton Heinen is a Canuck on a 2-year deal worth $2.25 million. Again, Danton Heinen and Jake DeBrusk are the new Canucks. Out for the Canucks are Zadorov and my buddy Dan says it's like Boston and the Canucks made a trade. Heinen and DeBrusk for Zadorov and Lindholm. William Carrier to Carolina for 2 year or 6 years times 2 million. So $12 million for Carrier. Kiefer Sherwood, 2 years, $1.5 million for the Nucks. Oh my goodness. We've only been at this for an hour. Not even an hour. And think about all the money that's being spent already. Sean Monahan, 5 years, 5.5 to the Blue Jackets. Yeah. It's the Mo Money Sports Network, the sports network for the sports fan. Don't know how long I'll be hanging out today, but we're hanging out today. And yes, sirree. Is there any basketball news that we need to be made aware of? Talbot to Detroit. I believe that's Cam Talbot. 2.5 million for 2 years. Yep. Hopefully, the Bistro of Basketball Knowledge G will be joining me shortly. I don't know though. But until then, you're hanging out with me. Canucks get Louis DeBrusk, Danton Heinen, and Sherwood as they signed 3 free agents today. The Oilers have got Victor Arvidsson. The Leafs got Oliver Ekman Larson, Tanev, and who's the other one that the Leafs got? I can't remember. Tyler Bertuzzi goes to Chicago. And a nice little pickup there. Toffoli goes to San Jose 4 years. It's a busy day on the free agent market. Best and worst moves, I guess, is where we should be headed next. Nevertheless, if you celebrate Happy Canada Day, and if not, just have a good day anyway. Drouin goes back to Colorado. Uh, let's see what the deals are on that one. Oh, it's a 1 year deal, it says. So the deals are coming fast and furious. If anybody'd like to join me on the stream, all I need is your email and I will send you the link to it. There is more news coming. Again, Drouin back to Colorado on a 1 year deal. I don't know the terms of that deal. Brendan Montour is now taking his spot on TSN after Stammer signing with Nashville for Felix Sandstrom on a 2-way contract to Buffalo. So the news is happening. It's all happening. today. I wish there was a way to replicate this in the NHL games or the NBA games. That would be fun. But I guess that would be hard to do. Drop a like, subscribe to the channel, all that good junk. The faces of the NBA and the NHL have changed drastically today. And again, Paul George to Philly. Oubre Jr. stays in Philly. Tyrese Maxey gets 204 million. Paul George gets 212 million. It's a crazy day. So what do we have going on? Artikainen got $87 million. Or Hartenstein, sorry, not Hartikainen, to go play for the Thunder. I don't know how he feels in LA because his buddy just left him for $212 million after he signed an extension. It's absolutely crazy. Hmm, could be Zach Hyman, maybe.
Who?
DeBrusque.
Could be, yeah.
At that price,
Just sit beside the side of the net and tap pulls in.
that's how you do it. Can you refill my iced tea jug too, please? Oh yeah, e-transfer. Yeah, Mr. Fun Guy in LA can't be having too much fun today. I got a new logo and channel banner for the Mo Money Sports Network. It's nicer, it's cleaner, it's blue. It's not blue as can be. New channel banner. Upgraded the look.
7-year deal.
That's a bit much for Jake. I keep wanting to say Louis. And it's a very interesting time for the Clippers, and hopefully G will hop on to talk about it. As it's a very busy day. I know G likes his sleep, but since I'm the early bird, I'm the one that's hanging with you today. Let's see if I've missed anything. Thank goodness for the Score app having a tracker on this thing. Laurent Brossois, Tyler Bertuzzi, Alec Martinez also going to the Blackhawks. So Vegas is going to look way different this year because they've lost Martinez and Marshall. Patrick Maroon to the Blackhawks on a 1-year, $1.3 million deal. Carolina, the Blue Jackets are making moves. Capitals, Devils. Devils got Brendan Dillon as well, 3-year, $12 million deal. Hurricanes got William Carrier, 6 years, $12 million contract. Martinook re-signed in Carolina. The Kraken got Brendan Montour, Jake Gensel. Oilers got Victor Arvidsson and Connor Brown on a 1-year deal, $1 million contract. Oilers taking care of business. Oh man, Derek White gets the bag too. The Celtics just re-signed Derek White for 4 years, $126 million. That just came down. Matt Duchene gets a 1-year extension in Dallas worth $3 million, I believe it was. Yep. 4-year, $126 million for Derek White and the Boston Celtics. Woo! 6 times 5.75 for Matt Roy in Washington. Oh my goodness. Was it ever a day to hop on for a live stream, eh? 4 years, $126 million. Hold on, I'll see if I can text G. That's crazy. Four years, 126. I knew I was gonna stream today, but I didn't want to commit and then say no and then have nothing happen. But I'm here, brother. I'm here. And I just text G to tell him about the Derek White signing. And oh my goodness. I did continue watching on the TV because it's been on the same channel for so long. Here we go. And I didn't want to do just an NHL stream. I wanted to do a double hangout because for some reason free agency starts on the same day. But oh my goodness, I am here. We are covering it. The crew is covered. Derek White, 4 years, $126 million. Wow, Tyson Yost, 775,000 to Carolina. A lot of hockey news. Not so much in the basketball realm. Actually, there's a lot of news there too. But the big news today: Derek White gets 126 million over 4 years for the Celtics. So what does that make the Celtics payroll? You got Brown making 305. You've got Tatum with his extension, and they just gave 126 million to Derek White. I wouldn't want to see that Celtics payroll actually. Now that I think about it, that's gonna be cray cray. Oh, KP Caldwell Pope too. Yeah, I forgot he signed. It's been so busy. Harden got a New Year 2 year $70 million deal. Andre Drummond 2 years 10 million. Lakers got Max Christie, Contavious Caldwell Pope 3 years $66 million in Orlando. Cade Cunningham got paid. Names are coming off the board quickly. Patrick Williams went to the Bulls for 5 years, $90 million. Luke Cornett to the Celtics on a 1 year deal. All right. So I have confirmation that the Bistro of Basketball Knowledge will be joining me shortly. He's just getting himself ready. He will be joining us though, Rola. So we're gonna have more coverage for you on both ends of the things. Michael Amadio signs a 3 year deal with the Senators. Yo, PG going to the Leafs or what? Paul George is going to the 76ers. I've got it all covered. We're hanging out today. The link is in your email, G. Whenever you're ready, you can hop on in and we can talk a lot of sports with a few of our friends. Derek White's got himself a brand new deal. Paul George left Kawhi hanging. Warren Fogle to Los Angeles for 3 years and $3 million range. Oh yeah, oh yeah, Kristaps. No worries, brother. No worries. Kristaps Porzingis, Derek White. How do these guys have any room left on their payroll? And as I said, G will be joining me shortly. We got you covered. Oh well, for as long as we can. So Fogel goes to Los Angeles in place of Arvidsson, who comes to Edmonton. So Senators, Noah Gregor gets signed. Well, Caldwell Pope signed in Orlando. I thought he went to Boston. I make mistakes every day, Rolla. You know this. You know this, man. Whether it's on the station or the YouTube channel, you know how it goes, brother. Drop a like, let everybody know we're here. We're hanging out. We're talking NBA and NHL. Again, some of the biggest deals today. Stamkos going to Nashville on the hockey side for 4 years at 8 million per, and Derek White just got himself Snim Snow. That's right, Snim Snow. And Derek White just got himself the bag at 4 years, $126 million. And if anything happens for the Heat roll, I'd like you to join us. You don't have to, but the invitation is out there as well. If Pat Riley wakes up before, say, noon Pacific time, that'd be great, as we've been here for over an hour. Here we go. It's where we are. It's how we do. Minnesota Wild signing Yakov Trenin. Here we go. Here we go. Yakov Trenin's deal, 4 years, $14 million. The Oilers have also re-signed Noah Phillip on a 1 year, two-way contract for 775 at the NHL level. Guys, we got a lot going on. A lot going on today. Of course, these Sixers making noise. Oh, I got a lot of phone calls to make today. Yeah, Hartenstein left the Knicks for the Thunder. We got a lot to talk about, G. So as soon as you're ready, we can have you in here. I'm just trying to see if I missed anything. Apparently, I have not as of this moment. Again, both the faces of the NBA and the NHL have changed today. DeLon Wright, 1 year, $3.3 million contract. These are crazy deals happening right now. Hopefully, it slows down a little bit. Hey, G, what do you think about the new logo for the Mo Money Sports Network? I kind of like it. It's cleaner. It's not as blue, not as distracting. Yeah, that's that's the news to this point. We're waiting on you to join me so we can have some fun discussions about the upcoming season. Sources say the Preds have agreed to terms with goaltender Scott Wedgwood as well. Jake Yancel gets 9 times 7. It's got some golf energy. We don't bring that around here. We just don't bring that around here. There's too much going on to have golf energy today, brother. The Mo Money Sports Network. The sports network for the sports fan. What? That's a take and a half, brother. That is a take and a half. I don't know about that. Adding somebody like a Paul George to Tyrese Maxey, and well, we'll talk about that when you get on here. But I just thought it was very cool. It's the Sons of the East, huh? Oh, wow, you're not holding back on this one at all. Wow, it'll be very interesting to actually hear your take on that, my guy. Because I'm more inclined to disagree with you. But we'll talk about that in a moment. Here we go. Phoenix Suns of the East. Wow, that's a heavy hitting statement for this guy. We have more movement. Sean Walker is going from Colorado to Carolina. Jared McKay. Whoa, whoa, whoa. We're having fun. We're hanging out. Yeah, but to be fair, nobody heard of Tyrese Maxey before either. And he had a heck of a breakout year. No depth whatsoever. Um, you might be right, but we'll have to see how that's going to play out. I got my Twitter beside me for breaking news. I got my tracker in case we miss anything. Miracles. Yeah, we're not waiting on miracles in Philly. Well, the first one would be Joel Embiid staying healthy, I suppose. But yes, we are here. We are live on the Mo Money Sports Network. We got a new channel banner on the channel. We got a new watermark there for you guys to subscribe. Good old time here on the Mo Money Sports Network, the sports network for the sportsman. It is July 1st. To those who celebrate, happy Canada Day. To everybody else, hope you're having a great day. And wherever you're watching from, hope you're enjoying the coverage of the NBA and NHL free agency day. GGG. They even signed Eric Gordon. What's wrong with that? They need depth players. I saw the Phoenix Suns as the model to shoot for. Hey, I was wrong about the Suns too. I thought they'd have a better year than they did, and then they got wiped out by the Timberwolves. Again, G will be joining me shortly, which will be great because my voice will get a bit of a break. But until then, I got you covered right here on the Oh, Money Sports Network. Matt Grizzlick to Pittsburgh for 2.75 million. The Penguins making a small deal there. Nevertheless, oh, my Twitter's going crazy again. We got some breaking news. I'm told that Nosen is headed to the Garden State. He signed a 3-year contract with New Jersey. So there we go. This is a crazy day. The amount of money being spent today cannot be justified. I'll just say that right now. The amount of money in both leagues that is being spent today is not justifiable. Thank you for tuning in. New Hulk and Bella Bella trade for Slug. That'd be a good trade. But here we go. Man, oh man, what a busy day. And someday, some way, somehow, I've already been sitting here for an hour. With all the movement that has happened to this point, what is the biggest move in free agency in your opinion? You can leave that in the comment section. Yeah. Who's made the biggest and who's made the best move in free agents? Here we go. Sources say that Dallas has agreed to Casey DeSmith on a new deal. So the Dallas Stars have their backup goaltender in Casey DeSmith, who's leaving Vancouver, which probably means on a 3-year times $1 million deal, which probably means the Canucks are going to try and re-sign Arthur Seelovs after the playoffs that he had last year. And I know Drummond was unchecked and a fool, but you gotta accept it for what it is, I suppose. And as I said, when he's ready, yeah, Casey DeSmith going to Dallas. When he's ready, G will jump in and join me to discuss all the happenings that are going on in the association. And we'll see where it goes from there. But Twitter is breaking news here. Scott Wedgwood is about to go to Nashville. So this is gonna be a one heck of a day in free agency. Stefan Nosen, 3 years, 2.75 million for goes to New Jersey. And here we go. Uh, Henrique is number 23 on the free agency board. 24 is Tarasenko. 25 is Gostisbehere. Marcia Show's already off the board, brother. Marcia Show went to Nashville. So that's where that sits. Marcia Schultz and Stamkos went to Nashville. You landed Derek Forbert though, and not Louis DeBrusque, Jake DeBrusque. Jake DeBrusque is now a Canuck for the next 7 years. What? That's coming from Woj. Okay, G, you gotta hop in here if you got news like that, brother. Because they just signed Derek White to $126 million. That doesn't make any sense. Wow, what news to drop there, G? You're gonna have to hop in here to discuss news like that. That's insane. Why would you sign $126 million contract and then be like, we're selling the team? That makes zero sense. Led by is planning to make the franchise available for sale. Sources tell ESPN the investment group purchased the team in 2002. Massive development. Massive development is right. That is huge. And I'm waiting for my at the buzzer partner to join me so we can talk about everything that's going on here. Today, yesterday, day before. Let's get it. And the hockey news continues to flow as well. Woj dropping a bomb that the Celtics are for sale. They could leave Boston, they ain't gonna. And apparently, the final numbers on the Derek White contract are a little bit better than I thought. It was 125.9. So there's a little bit going on there. They save $100,000. Not like that's gonna make a big difference. But it is what it is, and this is where we are. Excuse me while I sip on the iced tea. Catch my breath for half a second. Sources say Preds have agreed to terms with goaltender Scott Wedgwood. It's going to be 2 years, $1.5 million per year. Saros and Wedgwood tomorrow. Maybe LeBron buys a good lord. Please let him go be a Celtic. Please let him go be a Celtic. I have no issue with that whatsoever. No issue with this. That's a funny one, G. That is a funny one. Roy's being funny today. Roy White is getting the money to fix his tooth. And there it is. The score is now reporting that they are putting the franchise up for sale. So this is weird. Now I gotta talk about the Celtics today. I was not planning to do that. But between the Derek White news getting 126 million, and the franchise going up for sale. It's just a strange day. Oh my goodness. Canucks are getting Derek Forbert. Here we go. Absolutely puzzling day here as we go forward here. Yeah, that was kind of weird too, Roy, that Ricochet's contract expired and his wife stayed with the company. But I guess it happens. And again, if anybody wants to join me, well, talking about these things, I'm more than happy to do so. But it's been a very, very busy day. Perron, Amadio, and Gregor going to the Senators, and it is a free agency. All right, Roy, thanks for dropping in. And G says he'll be on in 5, which is great. Because being a one-man announce crew is never easy, so I do appreciate the company. Back to work again. Talk to you later if I hear anything. You bet, Roy. You just come and go as you please. We're live, so anything can happen here on the Mo Money Sports Network. The sports network for the sports fan. Drop a like, let everybody know we're here. G will be joining us momentarily. Oh my goodness. The Celtics are up for sale. Hockey world is going crazy, and the NBA is handing out obscene amounts of money. Obscene amounts of money. I like having Roy around though. It's like having our own little insider. Gives us all the Woj bombs. Adrian Wojnarowski reporting that the Celtics are up for sale. Chandler Stevenson, the latest casualty of the Vegas Golden Knights, has now left as well. 7 years times $6.25 million. The Seattle Celtics, no, gee, that's not going to happen. You're better off with an expansion franchise. Sounds pretty decent to you, does it? We'll have to see about that, I guess. But there's a lot happening today. Seattle Celtics. Give me a break. You may have a point, G. You may have a point. I miss Seattle too, but I don't think they're coming back. Here we go. Here we go. It's about time to start the show. Max Jones going to the Boston Bruins. Ooh, here we go. As it is July 1st, free agent frenzy day, and money is being spent like it's going out of style. Let's see if I can catch us up on the NBA side of things. Nothing has changed since the Derek White contract signing, and we'll have to see how this goes. Sam Lafferty gets 2 years at $2 million. Wow. What a day, what money, and we got the Boston Celtics to talk about. This has been a long day already, and the signings are coming up fast and furious. And I will not only do the live stream, but for things you may have missed today, I might have to throw a couple of videos together as well. And my good buddy G is coming in momentarily. So we've got a lot to discuss, and there's a lot happening. Lots happening. It's been a very exciting day, and we'll have to see if there's any other big news happening. But don't you worry, the Mo Money Sports Network, the sports network for the sports fan, has you covered today. So we'll see how this goes. We're just hanging out. Dallas Stars have signed Sam Steele to a 1 year contract. So the hockey money's getting out of hand. The basketball money's already out of hand. And that's for $1.2 million. I gotta make phone calls after this because everything's happening. So the signings continue to trickle in. We still have big name free agents out there on both sides of the NBA and NHL side of things, mainly the NHL because I get to see the board. Yo, G, how's it going, brother?
Good, man. Can you hear me?
Yeah, just barely, but I can hear you.
Okay, I'm gonna switch my mic on here. Sorry.
No worries, brother. No worries. G is here. He's got the basketball scoop for us. Just having some technical issues. Matt Dumba also going to the Dallas Stars. Garnet Hathaway, 2 years, $2.4 million extension with the Flyers. Ryan Lomberg to the Calgary Flames. Uh, Gee, the hockey side is going nuts. The basketball side is going nuts. I don't know what to tell you. It's all happening today, of all days. It is all happening today.
Check, check. Anything?
How you doing, brother?
Almost there, buddy. Almost there. Had to just do a quick
Yeah, I
thing
can
on the
hear you
fly.
now. That Ryan Lomberg deal with the Calgary Flames, 2 years, $2 million. It's tough trying to cover two sports at once, but that's what I do here. G will be here pretty quick.
Check, check.
I can hear you, brother. What's going on?
Ooh, there we go. Okay. I'll turn the camera. Be locked.
Hello.
Yeah.
There we go.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. No problem here. We're locked and
He's
loaded.
in the house, folks.
Yeah. Oh, just lost my charger. Come back to me now. So what's your favorite move of free agency so far?
My favorite move of free agency, if I'm looking at it as an unbiased observer, I like what the Thunder have doing.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Thunder
hear that.
picking up Harskinen. That's a pretty impressive move from a Thunder team that, by all rights, could have sat on their hands and would have been just fine.
As they usually do, but Hartenstein's good. He's nothing too special, but he's a solid role player. He's better than
But
Reed.
he gives them more depth.
Agreed. And I think somebody like Paul Reed. Do you know who Paul Reed is?
Paul Reed.
Exactly.
Not too sure.
He's the 76ers backup. Or no, he's their starting power forward. Just if you want to talk depth real quick, we're mentioning that, saying Hardenstein's a good example of somebody that, would have been an actual depth player, but they spent all their money on a 34-year-old Paul George.
And what we're talking about, one Mr. Paul George, how do you think Kawhi feels over there in Clipperland,
Oh, dude,
knowing his buddy left him behind?
I think you're making a big assumption there that Kawhi has feelings.
I don't know. I would be pretty upset if I was him.
Yeah, I guess it doesn't seem like anything rattles that dude in a good ways and bad ways. You know what I mean? It's like, I think that's why he drives people nuts sometimes. It's like it looks like he doesn't care, and it's almost badass, but then it's back to him just kind of checked out almost. I'd be all right.
It's a fine line, right? It's a fine line, G.
Yeah, and unless they pick up a DeRozan or something like that for the Clippers, those guys are cooked, and they just signed their, death note with Kawhi being the last signing. But yeah, we're not Clippers fans here, so we're not going to get too far.
No, we're not Clippers fans here, but we got to talk about it. I think adding a Paul George to a Tyrese Maxey and a Joel Embiid is a good move.
It's a slightly better version of the Phoenix Suns, because what do you got past those three?
That's a good point. Others have to step up.
You got Andre Drummond. He's going to take your alley-oop right out of your hands. So you got him.
There's your starting power forward. I don't know who Paul Reed is, but
so it's between those two guys, and they both are brutal post players, way past their prime.
For $5 million, though, I'll take a shot on Andre Drummond.
No, maybe 5 years ago. Not even. I wouldn't even sign him for a 10-day right now. I don't know what. Like the Chicago Bulls let him go, and Chicago Bulls are the worst GMing team in the league right now.
No. I disagree with that. The Lakers are the worst GMing team in the league right now.
Even if they get Clay and DeMar?
Do we have Clay and DeMar?
I think they're all on a boat somewhere right now.
I do not like what the Lakers have done. They've basically forfeited the next 4 seasons of Laker basketball based on the moves they've made in this offseason so far.
Unless they can get rid of D'Angelo Russell.
That would be something for sure.
But he's their best shooter, so I don't know. What do you think of Dalton Connect? Draft pick.
That's the one thing out of the 5 things that they've done that I actually like.
Yeah, they were I think the most popular team, like positive choice. Like everybody thought that was a really good pick, especially for what their team needs right now. So I agree with that. And I liked watching Dalton in the tournament. He was one of those guys that was like, oh, geez, he just makes every right decision. If I'm remembering correctly, it was a little bit ago, but
yeah.
But
excuse my voice here, brother. I've been carrying it by myself for an hour and a half.
Hey,
so
man,
you don't have to forget.
I got you. The people appreciate it. I know that's for sure. So it's not going to ill use.
Yeah, my crew loves it. I didn't announce it obviously, other than to yourself last night.
Yo, I was looking forward to it, and I woke up. I was like, oh, the game has begun, as it says. So.
Oh man, the amount of money that is spent today on both the NHL and the NBA sides is going to be absolutely unjustifiable.
That's I think a really good point that I was trying to get my mind around this last weekend, man. It's like, when did the money change this dramatically? If for both sports,
Remember
really.
when Remember when in the 90s when Scotty signed that big money deal for like 7 years for $36 million, and everybody went, "Whoa."
Wait, did he sign a 7-year contract?
Remember in The Last Dance, what's his name was like, "If I were you, Scotty, I wouldn't sign this contract." And I think it was a 5-year deal. I'm guessing on the number 2, but I remember it was like a $36 million deal.
Hmm.
And they're like, "Scotty, I wouldn't sign this." But Scotty flat out admitted he needed the money.
Hey, man, you don't want to go gambling with Michael Jordan. Let's just put that out there. He will outspend you all.
Oh my
Scottie
goodness.
Pippen, man, he would guild for a contract like they're getting these days. Like, I was thinking about Scotty Barnes and Quickly. Between them, it's almost $500 million. If they
Isn't
pick up
this
2 more
crazy?
contracts, you're looking at a billionaire in Scotty Barnes in 10 years. A billionaire in Emmanuel Quickly in 10 years. Put them together, you got 2 billionaires.
Oh my goodness.
And so how are you
All of
even
a sudden, Jakob Pertl's $20 million deal seems like chump change, does it not?
it it does. It does, especially when this money is only going to increase. So let's say Scotty has a great 5 years. Let's say he gets to a conference finals, brings us to a couple things. He's having a great 5 years, and they sign him to another 5 years. What do you think that's going to be worth? At least 300, at least 350. It's like, man, these guys are going to be pushing the billion mark before the time they're 35, and they won't even have to have a championship.
No, that's the crazy part, dude.
Let's just be an average star making made $1 billion in 10 years. Like, you weren't even
And I
starting on
know
your team in Florida.
and I know this is an ugly word, but like the pandemic salary cap for the NHL was stuck at 83 and a half for like 4 years. This year it jumped up to $88 million, and you've seen some of these contracts come in at 7 times 7, 9 times 7. Like the numbers in the sporting world in general are getting ridiculous, man.
Yeah, we
And
don't even
it's
need to
the
get into the
TV rights
soccer, right?
deals, it's the Amazon Primes, it's the NBCs,
Gambling. Come on, don't forget the biggest revenue.
it's the Bet 365s. It's all the money's coming in.
Yeah, what was the 16-year-old from Paris Saint-Germain signing here? I think it's like 120 mil per year.
Oh god, isn't
Right?
that crazy?
It it hurts the mind. That's for darn sure.
We'll have to do just a regular Mo Money Sports Network podcast, like not an At the Buzzer podcast, but like just a general channel podcast about how ridiculous the salaries have become in the sporting world.
Yeah, yeah. It's a strange time to be alive because obviously there's some exciting parts to it, but it almost it brings up red flags for me always when the money gets too big. It always feels like there's things that are going to be at risk. But I guess that's the tight wire line, right? See if
Integrity of the game.
yeah, yeah. But we'll see. I think there's a lot to be said for people being incentivized. So hell, see some good basketball here when people are trying to be billionaires.
But
Hell,
the thing that bothers me, G, is you don't have to earn it anymore.
Ben Simmons,
Ben Simmons, his $168 million contract looks like a bargain now.
man, isn't it crazy that guy just had to work 19 years in his not 19 years. Let's say he worked from 14 years old to 19 and essentially was given a couple hundred million and doesn't have to do anything ever again. That's a wild one.
Is that not the craziest thing?
At
And
the
also
same time,
on
I feel
this
bad for that guy, but yeah, in general.
And also on this note of we got to talk about the Celtics. They just re-signed Derek White for $126 million. That
Y-
goes with the Kristaps Porzingis money, the Jalen Brown money, the Jason Tatum money, and then we get the announcement from Woj this morning that the Celtics are going up for sale.
So what do they know that we don't know? Is this a case of just selling high? You've got the championship, you've got the team signed, you're never going to be a more valuable franchise perhaps than this moment right now. Is that what they're saying? Because that's a wacky way to sort of present yourself.
It could be, and I'm gonna say G because do you see over the next 10 years the TV money getting better or worse for these leagues? And maybe that's what the Celtics ownership knew, that maybe the money will come back down some, and
The
maybe
bubble,
they thought we're gonna get out at the pinnacle.
maybe there's something that the bubble will pop, right? Like maybe the gambling is going to
It
face a
has to
crisis.
at some point, doesn't it?
I think so. Like look at the baseball for example, the amount of gambling things that are going down being caught wise there. I think something like that might pop the bubble because it'll be like the gambling has to have new rules or something like that because it got way too out of hand and there'll be some massive controversy type of thing and then they'll put in new rules on gambling and maybe then the money
Well,
goes
look, it
down a bit.
already happened to Shohei Ohtani in Los Angeles
That's it, right? So what happens if it's Luka Doncic or whoever, right, that does it and gets
or
caught?
Wemby.
Yeah, right? Like what if it's a face and then they have to show that they're doing something and the money would go down then. Or the Celtics ownership have just, other business interests in mind and there's other big things going on and it's just business. Maybe it's just a business move that's opening up a possibility for
Well,
the
this worries me
Seattle.
though because Cuban sold the Mavs earlier this year too.
See, there we go.
So
There's
this
the
is
Mo Money journalism at work here, folks. This is
this is
good.
not just a one-off. This is Mark Cuban, who loves the Dallas Mavericks, mind you, and he just
So true,
decided, I'm getting out."
man. You're
Uh,
making me think, yeah, that there is something going on because if we think about the stupidest owners in the league, we think about Matt Ishbia, and he just got into the game. So we're going, oh, okay, yeah, well, it makes sense then that somebody that doesn't know what's going on bought into the league.
Yeah,
And the ones that do know what's going on are getting out.
they're dipping, they're dipping.
It
But
might be something there.
I ask you this as my conspiracy theory brain continues to roll down the tracks here. When was the last time you saw not one but two franchises sold within a 3 month period?
Probably not since. Ooh, yeah, I can't think of that.
See, that's what worries me as an NBA fan. Two of the owners, and here's the thing: it's not like they're dealing with the New Orleans Pelicans and the Orlando Magic. These are two of the most successful franchises in the NBA who said, "No, I'm good. I'm getting out."
Like, yeah, they're thinking that the value will never be higher than it is now. So what does that say? Who knows, man? Maybe it's just volatile and they just don't have the patience for it or whatever.
I don't know. I have another question for you, G. What's it like being live without a safety net as opposed to doing a regular at the buzzer hit
Oh, same,
for an hour and
same.
a half?
Yeah. Yeah, same. I think it's a
Same
good
deal.
thing. Yeah, man. The liveness is good. It reminds you that you got to watch your P's and Q's.
Yeah. And we're not restricted by our normal 2 hour time limit that we normally have with the
Yeah.
At the Buzzer podcast once recorded.
Yeah. Yeah, with the live thing, we can be talking about the crazy in the moment stuff too that comes up, like the Celtics going for sale. But the Seattle Super Celtics just rolls off the tongue, doesn't it?
Seattle Super
Seattle Super Celtics. Just keep saying it to yourself, folks, and you'll see what I mean. It sounds really good. I think Jason Tatum would be a great Seattle boy. He seems like a consummate professional, and Derek White seems like a Seattle guy. I don't know, man. I think Seattle deserves a team, and why not the NBA champions?
I don't think that's how it works, and the people in Boston would have
Well, they're not the ones that own it.
a fit. Huh?
Well, then we'll fight them. Seattle versus Boston in the streets, like Gangs of New York style. We'll just go take whatever weapons you can, everything but guns. Come on now, folks, and we'll just see what happens.
Yeah, the front office shelled out on long-term assets for present-day stars and kept pushing to surround stars with complementary talent. They're talking about how owner Steve Ballmer, this is on the Score app, that he kind of played himself by building this new building, investing in Kawhi and Paul George, and now he's kind of like, where do the Clippers go? Because they're going to go back to the mediocre Lakers or the Clippers that they've always been.
And I can't believe I'm about to say this, but do you know who I bet he wishes the franchise status was? Like, I bet he wishes it was the Raptors right now for him, for Ballmer, right? Because imagine you had a young star in Scotty Barnes that his ceiling is unknown. It could be Giannis type. You've got a young core, and you've got a bunch of cap space that can be played with. Compare that to what they got. It's not the energy that you want to be starting a building
No, it's
and
really bringing
franchise
that
with.
golf energy.
Yeah, imagine Harden and Kawhi. Like, oh, that's just going to bring life into the building. Like, I don't think so.
Well, see, here's the problem with James Harden. James Harden is fool's gold in the NBA. And by that I mean he'll get his 30 points because in the regular season he'll get the foul calls that he always gets. He'll shoot 17 free throws and put up 30 points. In the playoffs, he doesn't get those calls, and that's why you see him go from 30 to 17.
And we're almost assuming again that he's going to be as professional and good at James Harden as he can be, but that's not always the case with this guy. He might just be worse than he was last year, and he's only getting 14 points, and he's only getting, it's like there's no
And
guarantee
he's
that
only
Harden's
getting
going to be
older, too.
exactly and crustier. It just seems like a guy that gets crusty with age. I don't like it. To be honest, when you compare a guy like Harden to Kyrie, it's like they're not even in the same ballpark in terms of energy at that
Well,
age.
well, here's the thing, and I don't mean this in any kind of disrespectful way, because Kyrie can kind of be a donkey when it comes to wanting to play too. But at this point in their careers, Kyrie's upside is way, way higher than James Harden's upside.
Mm-hmm. I agree. I don't know if Dallas will have enough ever to support them go anywhere, but he is way more upside, that's for sure.
Well, that's an interesting statement when you're talking about the Western Conference champion Dallas Mavericks.
Yeah, that's a soft ass champion, I gotta say. Yes.
I'm just saying, you can't take it from them.
No, you're right. I can't take it from him. And
But the Celtics were just on another level in
yeah,
that finals.
yeah. Did anybody feel like that was even going to be a series past game one? Once we saw what that looked like, it was
No,
like, oh, yeah, yeah.
but this is a lot of fun. We're not usually on this early. Gee.
No, that's very true. This is the flipping of the schedules for me here, nocturnal life.
So here's another issue that I want to talk about. Kristaps is paid by the Celtics. Brown, Tatum, and now you got to add Derek White to this list. How much depth can the Celtics afford to keep going forward with all this money locked up?
So who do they have locked up? All four of those guys?
They've locked up all four of those guys.
I think that's all you really need if you can get the complementary guys that know how to play within that system and have been proven to hit their threes when they needed to get a couple defensive stops when they needed to. You don't need past a really, really solid four core. I don't think. It's when you only have three gigantic stars or even two and then have less than role players to fill out your bench, where Celtics, even if it's a Cornet, they signed Cornet, right? Like there's a big body that's as good as Pirtle and actually hits the three right occasionally.
As good as Pirtle.
And
that's not a very high bar when you're talking about Jakob Pirtle.
It's not, but you got to be 7 feet. That's something. You got to be big.
I think you're just trying to get my goat at this point.
Celtics are going to be all right. I wouldn't be worried about Celtics if I were. They're
so given all the information that we have now, how does that change your outlook for the NBA season going forward?
Well, I think Boston's still the favorite. No, like Boston's far and above proven to have the goods.
And I have another question. Why, if you're a player like a Caldwell Pope, would you pick the Orlando Magic, who's been a struggling franchise for years? Or do you think you can be a stabilizer into a future playoff contender? Is that what's going on here?
I think
Help
so.
me understand the logic from KCP's methodology.
Money.
That's a simple
it's
methodology.
in the name. I think money, and it's a decent looking organization. Like it seems like they've are competitive in terms of like taking their business seriously. They got some young fire starters that are effort guys, and it's always fun to play with effort guys. You know, just it's fun to watch effort guys. So when you've got a Jalen Suggs or what's that other dude's name there, the little guard, they've got a few guys that are real like energy hustle guys. So you know that you're joining a team where it's not a bunch of
Roy just dropped a
divas,
Woj bomb in the comment section here.
Ooh.
Celtic sale owners, Grosbeck planning to sell after 2024 NBA champion team valued at nearly $5 billion.
$5 billion. Oh, that's
man.
That's okay. So LeBron, Shaq, and Alex Rodriguez decide to buy it.
I like how you throw the baseball guy in there, like Alex Rodriguez and Shaq. And
he's got money, right?
oh, that'd be something.
Yo, $5 billion.
Those guys make money in their sleep, though, don't they?
Yeah, it's just in the like realms of don't even know how to talk about it when it's such ridiculous money. Gary Trent Jr. coming back down to earth, where we could still talk about some of these things with some level of understanding. Gary Trent Jr., where's he going?
I don't know. I was surprised when the Raptors didn't trade him last year, because if you're not going to re-sign him, why not get what you can for him? That was my philosophy.
Huh. Yeah. People think he's not worth even a mid-level.
I disagree with that wholeheartedly. If I can get him on a mid-level exception, I think I take my chances.
What's a mid-level these days, even, right?
I don't know, like 10 million? No, it'd have to be 5 because Andre Drummond got 5 million per, so it's got to be at least 5. Yeah, I'd take Gary Trent at 5 million.
Oh, he's not going. So he made 18 million last year.
Yeah, but on a mid-level exception, that's gonna be a lot cheaper.
So that starts at 12.5 million,
Was the mid-level?
according to Sportsnet here. Huh.
Oh, good grief.
That's a bummer for him, eh?
I don't know what to tell you. Can I go on my Laker rant now?
Yeah. What do you got against
Talk
the
about the
Lakers?
Lakers' stupidity.
Hey, if you got one of the best podcasters in the game right now, what are you worried about?
Huh?
You got JJ Redick as your head coach.
Okay, number one, it gives me no faith that you were coaching 4th grade basketball last year. That's first and foremost.
Hold on. I think that's actually a qualification because we've all seen what Braun's ego is like, and it's about a 4-year-old when you see him get upset. Like I've seen 4-year-olds tantrum like that. So, or grade 4, you know. So when JJ's got that experience of working with little kids and their tantrums, you see where I'm going with this? He's got the
Secondly,
experience you need.
secondly, you gave JJ $8 million per, I believe it was, which is ridiculous.
Hey, babysitters get paid more than ever now.
That's the first part of my rant. The second part of my rant is you're giving him a 3-year max at $162 million to a 40-year-old LeBron James.
How many years?
3 years, $162 million.
Yikes.
I'm trying desperately not to blow my gasket here.
3 years.
And then,
Oof.
by the way, for good measure, with the 55th pick overall, you pick a guy who's ranked 98 in the top 100 prospects. Good job, boys.
The headlines alone pays for it.
Doesn't matter.
That's true. Press mentions alone. Oh man. I I think those are inevitable ones though, right? It's like if you're the Lakers, are you gonna let LeBron go? No,
Yes.
no.
Yes. 100 times yes.
Only if it was nothing to do with money. Like if it was just winning, then yes.
It's always about winning.
Not in this world.
Always about winning. And if you're not in it to win, get out.
Or sign with the Sixers.
Or I'm sorry.
Oh.
Maybe as a business move, this makes sense. But as a Laker fan, this is dog crap, and you know it.
Oh yeah, but they'll still find a way to be competitive with the way that Lakers go.
They're not competitive now. They got worse. How are they going to be more competitive?
They'll get some favors along the way.
They
They make
said
people happy.
they said we want to get rid of Dunham because we're not excelling to expectations. And then you go and get a guy that's been teaching 9-year-olds.
Like I said, you got to know your audience. You got to have experience working with the types of
Oh my
people that you're
God.
going to be working with. And when you look at D'Angelo Russell and LeBron James and Anthony Davis, you're thinking, okay, I need somebody that knows how to work with 9-year-old energy, right? You got
As a Laker fan, I am disgusted by this franchise. We have become the Los Angeles Clippers.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know enough of the goings on of Laker history, but to see multiple times of a team that was so checked out, you know, when AD didn't get off the bench for LeBron's
It was
10,000th
never like
point,
this before.
or D'Angelo Russell gets caught texting during a timeout.
Roller says I could coach golf energy. He says.
Yo, it's JJ's probably just happy to be there and cash some checks and be in the
And
spotlight,
here's
right?
the other thing. Here's the other thing. JJ, you started out lying to me. Allegedly, I gotta say that. Allegedly lying to me. Because when you were asked, did you talk to LeBron? He said no. Which I'm calling I'm smelling BS on that one. I'm telling you right now, there was a conversation between JJ Redick and LeBron James. You cannot convince me otherwise.
No, he'll probably play it dumb and say like, "Oh, you had asked me if I did talk to him. I was actually talking to him at the time, so I said no because you know what I mean." He'll just say some like, he'll just dance around it. How do
I'm
you?
sorry. I'm trying to maintain my frustration, but it's very difficult with this.
Yeah,
And
let
I
me
will
give you
say
a.
this:
Yep.
I know as a Laker fan, I've been spoiled for the last 30 some odd years, 40 years with Magic and Kareem, and Kobe and Shaq. And I know nobody's gonna feel bad for my suffering. I'm aware of this, but this organization is being run like a clown show.
Everybody loves circus.
Oh, it's so horrible, so
Yeah,
horribly bad.
it'd be curious to see if they can actually have any sort of serious uh games or contention stuff like that. Like here's a glass half full though for you. He's no longer going to be doing play by play with Doris,
That's true.
right? I'm here for you, man. I am here to keep that glass half full.
He's gonna be destroying my team, but okay.
Yeah. But for the sake of basketball and enjoying nationally televised games, thank
Bring
God
back
that
Van
stops.
Gundy.
I mean, anything like that was just the most awkward partnership. And it's like on their own, they're both totally fine, I think. Doris, better broadcaster, obviously. She's been doing it for her life. But
Bring
combined, it
back
was just
Van Gundy.
awkward. It was awkward. Like, yeah, I'd say let Doris choose because she's got the sort of the lead spot, right? So whoever has chemistry with her's got to be the one that's beside that chair. Because JJ was just like, you could tell he was scheming for something else the whole time.
No, he was waiting. He got a job for him to wait at ESPN.
Yeah, and I don't think the colleagues appreciated that, right? Like, oh, we're your stopover. It's the thank you, thank you.
Yeah, like you're doing us a huge favor.
Yeah, like we haven't been doing this for 30 years and watched you come and go with a blip, and now you're telling us I wouldn't be too hot on it. But who's going to replace him?
I don't know because it's ESPN, so they've got rights for the next 11 seasons.
If you could have anybody in that chair that's going to be doing your favorite games, right? The big headline games, who would it be?
If I had my way,
Yeah.
my vote does go back to Van Gundy.
Which one?
Jeff.
Oh, yeah, he got hired somewhere, didn't he?
Yes, he did. So I guess he's out.
But
Mark
you're saying if you
Jackson
could have
was
anybody, no doubt. Okay.
Yeah. Mark Jackson was always one of my favorites as well. I wasn't a big fan of him getting fired,
Mm-hmm.
but they spent all that money on Pat McAfee, so
Hey, put him on there. Let's see how he.
I
Let's
don't
see.
know how well the NFL guy is gonna do with the NBA coverage, my friend.
Yeah, but no, great. But he is maybe the right energy of something that they're trying to find as the new world media comes, right? Of somebody that just has big non-golf energy that can just keep an audience engaged and keen on sports. Like that's the job, and he does a good job of it. So hopefully they can find somebody that does that in basketball, like a new Chuck somewhere out there.
Mm-hmm. I agree. But what about like I know he's got 1 year left at TNT, but what about Shaq?
Speaks
I
too
think Shaq
slowly for
has a way.
play-by-play.
Oh no, color guy.
Yeah, even at that, with that big booming voice, it just feels like it takes extra long. Yeah, honestly,
I don't know.
yeah, it'd be a tough shoes to fill. You gotta,
You think they could steal Reggie from TNT?
ooh. I don't know if people cross those lines, right? Like Ernie might be the only one that's like guested in occasionally, but I don't think people cross lines.
No. I mean, when the TNT deal is done,
Oh,
do you think they have a stopgap measure of somebody there for 1 year and then bring Reggie in from TNT?
oh, maybe that would be interesting. I have no idea what that would look like if they are like, you know, will never work for ESPN since we were over with this other company or not. But something to think about.
I don't
Whether
know if the other company's not employing me anymore. My allegiances might change, right?
very true. Yeah, that's going to be a new landscape of everything for
I mean,
broadcasting.
that would be like me saying, "Okay, we're not doing the At the Buzzard podcast anymore," and then G going, "Well, I'm gonna go over here because they're doing a podcast and you're not doing the podcast." I couldn't stop you from not doing another podcast. I'm just saying it would be weird if the company that you're doing a spot for, all of a sudden they don't exist, and then you're like, "Well, I gotta go find something to do."
Yeah. Yeah, I because of the reputation though, like as an ABC person or a ES or TNT person, I wonder if they would just almost not hire. It's like once you're a certain associated with a certain team, it's like they're not going to hire you to another certain team or something like that, right? Like a Laker doesn't often go to the Celtics if they're a true Laker. I
This
wonder
is
if there's
true.
that just exists that will be like you got to start your own thing now, Reggie, or you got to join the Ringer or whatever, because the other camp will just never hire you because of you being a face of the former competition. Yeah.
Well, look, you might be right because I'm sitting here. The more I think about it, I think about a guy like Dan Lebitard who used to work for ESPN, and he hasn't shown up on any major cable network since he left ESPN.
Hmm. They're stuck, right? Like they have a new generation of media where they want, I think, people to like tune in for a Pat McAfee or even a Bomani Jones, but those guys aren't
Shout out to Bomani.
fully.
I love Bomani.
Yeah, and he was doing some, what was it, alternate casts during the playoffs. So it's like if you didn't want to watch the Doris feed,
Yeah,
you could turn on the Bomani feed on ESPN 3 or 2 or not ESPN, but you know what I mean. It was on one of the
yeah.
secondary channels, and it was him and three dudes. I can't remember who, and I remember him saying, he's like, "Now usually I wouldn't do something that I wouldn't watch," and he goes, "But this, I thought I'd give it a shot," and yeah, apparently he enjoyed doing it and that. And I was like, oh, that's probably the new model that we're headed for, right? Just some people that have both sides of like the old media experience, but then he's also part of that new media scene where people that like him follow him for him. They're not following because he's on ESPN. So I think somebody like that might work, but he wouldn't fit with the mainstream. You know what I mean? So that's why he's on the secondary cast. But then who
And
fits
that's
for
what
the first one? It's like we're
I mean with the Dan Lebitard, who I like Dan Lebitard from his time at ESPN,
Mm,
but also he doesn't quite fit the TNT mold either.
yeah. It's changing times because the old guard's moving out pretty
But I just
quick.
think I think Reggie's the one guy that if you looked at both sides, um, Reggie would fit seamlessly with ESPN. That's just my take on it. I could be wrong.
I like it. I think it's a good take because he's the best voice. He's the most entertaining. He's the most energetic. He's the most versed, and he's got people that love and hate him, which is great for for business, right? You want
Makes great TV, doesn't it?
yeah, you want people to hate and love you, right? So when he's in the New York Knicks building, people still boo him, and
See, and that's the problem with Big Perk. Nobody likes Big Perk, so everybody just boos Big Perk off of ESPN.
yeah, he's in a weird situation where he's almost like there's not the side that loves him, right? It's just almost all dislike. It's like he's the heel.
It's because
Yeah, but it like
shout
a
out to
not
Raw going to Netflix, by the way. But
mm,
it's almost like ESPN puts him there to be made fun of, and I feel bad for Perk on that one
it's what Draymond Green accused him of way back, remember?
because like Perk never has anything positive to say if you really look at it. Like even with LeBron turning 40, he's like LeBron should just go home now.
Yeah,
And like
he's the
but
master
I
of
think
hot takes in the sense of like saying the most whatever things, like the most get people talking. That's a horrible take. It's the worst take, but I think that's his job, right? Like he does it on purpose, but out of just not caring. Like he's like, oh, this is my take for the moment, kind of like I do. But he gets paid a bunch to do it, and then it's such usually bad takes that people talk about it, and so it's good for business, right?
do you think that was JJ Redick's spot and then ESPN found out he was leaving so that they just put Big Perk in his spot? Because if you remember when JJ came in, that was originally supposed to be his role, I believe, in ESPN.
Until
And then
he
I think they figured out it was a stopgap and they were like, we need to get somebody in here.
and as Stephen A was laughing, he's like, when he found out that JJ got hired, he's like, oh man, he's an acquired taste, let's say. Stephen A says. And
It's not even
and
that.
it's that he's very sensitive in the sense that like when you remember First Take when he would snap, like he would get too far into the scene, right? Where Stephen A pulls people in, it's the big thing, argument, but he looked like he was actually having a mental breakdown sometimes. And it was past the point of entertainment. So I think he just didn't fit First Take for that. you know, I think
But that's the thing. Okay, you have a podcast with LeBron James, which is pretty successful, I might add. But also, you are now going to try to coach this man? And knowing full well that you're taking all the heat if you lose and none of the credit if you. Why would you take this job? Dan Hurley was the smartest man in basketball who turned down more money to go back to UConn and try for a three-peat. Smartest man in basketball. He said, you guys are a clown show. I'm turning you down.
mhm. Some people know what they want to do, and some people. I think JJ knows what he wants to do. He knows what he's getting into, right? He knows exactly what this is. It's going to be a gong show, or it'll be a gong show that works out. It's just unlikely.
Is this just like the I had an epiphany because I remember what you said when you hopped in here. I just had an epiphany right now because you said it's a circus that people want to watch, so they'll buy tickets. And my retort to that was, it's about winning. Now, as a fan, it's always about winning.
Mm.
But I just had an epiphany of the Lakers have a sideshow for the next 4 years that people are going to want to watch. It helps ESPN, it helps Amazon, it helps NBC, and it helps the Lakers at the gate, but it comes at the expense of them winning.
This is where I think you're onto something in that I think we've talked about it before in that I think LeBron James's definition of winning changed once he got his pandemic championship. Because winning, I think, for him has now become outside of just basketball, the game. It's can I own a team? Can I become a legacy name that's bigger than Michael Jordan? Can I become the first owner to, you know, be 1 year removed from playing to be able to buy a team. Like I think he's onto those forms of what he sees as winning now, but he's
Then
trying to
why
do it.
play?
That's, I think, your whole point, right? Is like, but he's doing it at the expense of the everyday fan of the Lakers and basketball, assuming that he is doing this, but like maybe he is. Maybe he's trying to do it all at once. He thinks he can win with this crew, and
He can't. There's
and,
no possible
and he's
way.
too smart for it, right? Like he knows that he can't win with this, so he's doing the other games, which is a little bit more selfish than probably Lakers fans would want.
Riley Smith to the Rangers from the Penguins, by the way, real quick for your hockey fans, as the news has slowed down on both sides of the spectrum after about 11 o'clock this morning.
I to be honest, I was shocked to see PG go to the Sixers.
I wasn't.
I know nobody was, and it was sort of the assumed thing that was going to happen. But give a look at that depth chart, man. What world are people living in? That we just saw the Phoenix Suns implode with the exact same model.
That's true.
Big three. Oh wow, big three. And zero
But
else. Like there's
re- re-
nothing left on their bench. Find me a name.
remember how I said
Drummond.
I think the game on a different level?
On who?
Remember how I said that in one of the podcasts? I'll tell you what's going on in Philly. You want to know? The Philadelphia 76ers are the Eastern Conference Dallas Mavericks. I said it at the beginning of this year. I'll say it again. The Philadelphia 76ers are the Eastern Conference all flash, no dash. We're going to make our fans think we can win when we can't, but they'll still buy tickets because it looks like we're trying.
Is it that, or is it that they're just bad at GMing and basketball?
No, it's got to be the second one because they've been in contention for so long that you just have to go with they're trying to win. It looks like they're trying to win, but they're actually not trying to win. They're trying to sell tickets. See,
Could
whereas
be.
the
Yeah.
Suns, the thing with the Suns is you have all ego on that team. They took Bradley Beal's ego from Washington, transplanted it to Phoenix, where Kevin Durant has the biggest ego. And I'm sick of people telling me that Kevin Durant is humble. That's horse crap. Listen to his press conferences, and you tell me that guy's humble, you're wrong. And thirdly, Devin Booker won't admit it, but he loves showing out for 70 points. He doesn't care if the Suns win. But as long as you have Maxi, Embiid, and Paul George, it looks like you're trying to win. So then the Philadelphia fans will be like, okay, my team's trying to win. We might not get the. It's like the Toronto Maple Leafs. Every year, the Toronto Maple Leafs of the NHL, they come out, they look like they're going to win out in the first round. Leafs fans are like, oh shit, we'll do it again next year.
I caught 2 minutes of Sports Center there. Somebody just got signed to the Leafs. I can't remember who the goalie there.
Yeah.
And the question to him was, oh, that must be exciting, but what was it like to get a call this morning? And it was from the Leafs. He sort of said it as like,
as it was a prize,
as if it was the team that had won 7 championships in the last 14 years. Like, how does it feel to be chosen by the winners of the? And it's like, oh, you mean the team that's never won?
That's like, my point.
It's crazy the way they phrased it.
The Philadelphia 76ers are like the Toronto Maple Leafs.
I could see that. I could see that in the sense that they're favored so much and such a popular franchise and never do anything. But yeah,
Sorry, that was the easiest
guys.
comparison I can make. Easiest comparison I can make.
Yeah, it makes sense. And I just can't see any other way that you could say you're trying to win by just having 3. It's like even fans are going to be like, Are you trying to win though? Because we've seen the big three model fail every single time everywhere.
Even before winning a title.
Yeah, like the only models that work is when you build around a core. It doesn't matter if it's 1, 2, or 3 as your core. It matters how you build around what you decide your core is. So if your core is 3 gigantic salaries and the rest is 0, like we're talking 0, you're back in the Phoenix Suns category. At least the Dallas Mavericks got a draft pick that was worthwhile in Derek Lively Jr. or Derek Lively or what's his name?
Derek Lively, yes.
And then there's the other dude, the long one on the that was starting from the Bulls, high flyer guy, Derek Jones Jr. Right? Yeah,
Yes.
he's a great piece where you could say, okay, that's like Kelly Oubre, and it's like, all right, so you got Oubre there. Past that, there is such like just nothing. Whereas the Mavs, they got the PJ, they got Gafford was a nice addition. Like Gafford and Reed aren't even in the same league to me. Like Gafford is a guy that you could start in an NBA Finals game. Reed, you aren't in the NBA Finals. Period. Like, if it's up for discussion if he should start a game or not, it's that you're not even talking about the NBA Finals. So I think the Mavs are better positioned than the Sixers to be a winning franchise right now by a lot. Whether I don't disagree with your point though that they're still a team that likes to look like they're trying to win more than actually winning. But
There are certain teams in the association that like to look like they're trying to win. But
yeah,
see, here's the reason it's acceptable in the NBA. Because you have teams like Charlotte who never do anything.
are they even an NBA team?
That my case in point exactly.
I think that's a serious question people need to ask. It's like, why are you wasting people's time with that? It could be here in Seattle and be an actual NBA team. Yeah.
You know, that's the thing though, is like Charlotte and Atlanta and all those teams that never try to do anything. That's what makes making it look like you're trying to win something positive in the NBA, and that's not right.
Like, let's stick with the Sixers for a second and say Embiid goes down for a game. All right, so you got Maxey and George to hold the fort down. When it was just Maxey, things were not good. They were a below 500 team when Embiid was out. Okay, so we got PG. Let's look at the Clippers when it was just PG and who was that point guard there? Guys kind of like Maxey, Terrence Mann, and let's say Kawhi was out and stuff. The Clippers were decent, but they weren't like they were slightly better than Philadelphia without Embiid, right? Clippers without Kawhi. Neither one was competitive. So what makes the Sixers think that adding Paul George to a below 500 team would be enough to compete?
I have no idea, but I'm just saying that at least it looks like to the Philly fan. Because if you're Charlotte right now, and I'm bringing this back to Philly,
Hmm.
if you're Charlotte right now, what have you given your fans to be like, oh, I can be excited about that? So at least when Philly brings in Paul George, people can be like, ah, yeah, we did something.
Yes,
By comparison, a good move.
I guess when you're comparing like an apple to dirt, it's nice to have an apple, but
But I'm just saying that's how you got to look at it in the NBA because that's how it is. And the worst part is being mediocre has become acceptable in the NBA.
Yeah, but even more so, I go back to are you trying to win? Are you trying to even look like you're trying to win? Because the look that you've chosen is one that has lost every single time, right? Find me the big three of the superstar, late stage, 34 years old, three-piece that has done anything. So are you even trying to look like you're trying to win by signing Paul George? Because I think fans are smarter than that now. They watched Phoenix last year. They watched Brooklyn. We know how it goes. So what are you trying to look like when we've seen this model fail? Are you trying to look like you're trying to win, or are you just doing what you do because you're on autopilot as Daryl Morey and you're playing NBA 2K and you just fucking, I'll take Paul George, whatever. He's got good ratings, but you're not actually thinking about the fact that he's 34, that Embiid's injured half the
But
time.
here's the difference. Here's the difference, though. When you're playing 2K, you can control your Paul Georges. You can't control this Paul George.
Yeah, that's kind of what I mean. Is like, why would they think this is the winning looking move when even on 2K it would be a shaky-ish move when you've got full control over the
No,
player,
but that's not. I agree with you wholeheartedly.
Hmm.
But what I am saying is, when you have a team like this, who's in Philly, who got marginally better, and you're looking at a team like San Antonio or Charlotte, you're like, well, at least we're not those guys, is my point. And that's what I mean. Mediocrity has become acceptable in the NBA.
Because of how bad it is in some of the other
In some
places,
markets.
like
Yeah.
Tobias Harris, right? He went to the Pistons.
Look how excited you got when the Timberwolves went to the conference finals.
Mm,
And they got sideswiped.
yeah.
But that's acceptable in Minnesota because you look at Charlotte, you look at San Antonio, you look at some of these bottom feeding teams. You look at the Pistons who won 9 games
Hey, they
or
signed
whatever it
they
is.
signed Tobias Harris. Look out.
Well, good for them.
And
Good for them.
and hired Budenholzer, or not Budenholzer, Cavs coach.
I don't know where Butler's going. And Roll is playing 2K, so he knows what I'm talking about. But I'm just saying, when did mediocrity become acceptable in the NBA?
It's probably always been a little bit like that depending on the year, but depending on the franchise, you expect more. Like with Minnesota, at least they chose a model that was different. They weren't going with who's the biggest stars available that we can throw money at. It's like that's just the laziest, oldest model that doesn't work, and Daryl Morey is the master at it. And it's shocking that people are just like nodding along like it's not the thing that he's done to screw over his franchise and him over and over again without ever completing the journey. It's like Daryl Morey, man, $250 million. What could you have built with that instead of Paul George? You could have got DeRozan, you could have got Caruso, you could have got multiple role players to fill out your roster. You could have got Hardenstein, DeRozan, and Caruso, and
Does
probably
that a net
KCP.
positive?
Let's say
Does that
KCP. So you got your three-pointer, you got your penetrator, you got your big man defense that can hold it down when Embiid's tired, and you could probably have added one more on top of that. But instead, you got golf energy that's going to put in 24 points per game, 6 rebounds, 5 boards, and just be cool as a coaster the whole time. And you're going to spend 250 million on that. Like, you're not building a team. You're just spending money.
But that's acceptable in the NBA now.
Hey, it's not my money. I'm not worried, but yeah.
I'm worried as a fan that mediocrity has become acceptable, though.
Yeah, it's an issue for sure when you got this many teams, and competing interests.
But also, there's one signing that kind of went under the radar. The Spurs grabbing CP3. You knew I was going to get to this eventually.
Hold on, let me ask you something right quick. Y'all like lobs?
When they're going to Wemby, probably.
Because this guy is going to be throwing more lobs than you've ever seen anybody throw in your life. That's his only job. It's just going to be stand there and lob it. We don't even need you to get back on defense. Just lob it. Because he's one of the best accuracy pass throwers in history. And you don't need to be, 25 to do that. You can be 45. So I think Chris Paul's a nice fit there. I don't think they're trying to be competitive this year. It's more just going to be how can we feed the beast and make sure that he gets good playing time, doesn't get injured.
We've been challenged by Roy here to name the new Utah Hockey Club, and he's given us some options here. So I'm just going to read them. I'm going to read them out to you for the Utah Hockey Club. You ready?
Okay.
The Utah Blizzard, the Utah Mammoth, the Utah Yeti, the Utah Venom, or the Utah Outlaws. Again, that is the Utah Blizzard, Mammoth, Yeti, Outlaws, or Venom. Of those 5 franchise names, where do you sit?
Ooh. Utah's one of those states I know so little about, other than that it's got mountains. I like the Mammoths. I haven't heard that name before. Right?
The Venom sounds like a junior league team.
That it almost seems reserved for the
It's like a G League name.
It's a feeder team name, no doubt. But
I do like the Utah Yeti though. I think that has a nice
I like that
ring to
too. And it could be an epic mascot.
I think the Outlaws is overused. I think everybody likes the Outlaws. I think it's severely overused. So I'm gonna go with the Yeti on that one.
And yeah, what's their most famous thing in Utah?
Karl Malone.
The Utah mail delivery.
Whoa! Did you see this?
No.
Mavs have signed Clay for $50 million.
Oof. Okay.
Roy dropping it in here. Wow. Thompson agrees to 3 years, $50 million. And that's a Woj bomb I was not expecting today.
I was curious if it would be the Mavs. I guess it's an upgrade from a Tim Hardaway Jr., but is it? Hey, I mean, no disrespect to Clay, no disrespect, but he threw up some pretty brutal games last year with an equally good player to space the floor. It's not like he was playing with guys that couldn't spread the floor for him. So don't know what Dallas is expecting. You guys were watching
Sign in trade that also sends Josh Green to Charlotte.
Oof. Poor guy.
As we just bagged on the Charlotte Hornets for the last 10 minutes.
Yeah, they got to do something to break out of that. Valanciunas went to Washington.
Mm-hmm.
So
Thompson ends historic Warriors tenure as part of a multi-team sign-and trade that will also send former Mavericks wingman Josh Green to the Charlotte Hornets. Woj adds more to come. So that deal's not done yet. There's more news to come. I don't know what's going back from Charlotte to Golden State.
Who's their guy that's a free agent? I guess it wouldn't matter if he's a free agent. That wouldn't have anything to do with it.
Klay Thompson to the Dallas Mavericks.
But
You just
you're-
talked about big threes not working.
man, you're being very generous to even consider Clay as being eligible for a big three somewhere. Like we were watching basketball last year, right? Like Clay was brutal. Like he was not even like D'Angelo Russell was a king compared to him last season. Are we gonna just look past that?
When he's got two guys looking out for him,
Like Steph and Draymond?
like Kyrie and Luka.
Is that better?
It's different when Clay's the third option on a team.
I mean, he wasn't the second option on the Warriors. At all for last season. So I think people are getting a little bit confused.
He's coming.
Like
he's coming to Dallas.
This is the obsession with living in the past and not looking at reality. I think is like, hey man, we all watched last year. I can pull up the numbers. They're not good.
Yeah, but I think if all he has to do is sit in the corner and shoot threes, he might be all right.
That's all he has to do in Golden State. And he couldn't do it.
No, he didn't have a third guy in Golden State. Not a reliable one.
Well, he's not going to be a reliable third guy. Well, he's not reliable. Like, if he was reliable, the Warriors would have signed him. They need a shooter.
Jack Campbell's going to the Detroit Red Wings as well. But the big news here is it keeps coming. Klay Thompson is now a Dallas Maverick.
So he averaged 17 a game last season, and that, I think, even at that was like a pretty casual 17 points game. Not a lot of clutch time buckets. Wasn't finishing wasn't even finishing games sometimes.
Thompson, Najee Marshall to replace Derek Jones Jr. and Quentin Grimes to replace Green for the Western Conference champions.
That's a downgrade. That's a downgrade, man.
I don't know. Derek Jones Jr. didn't impress me in the playoffs.
Let's see what his numbers were, because he hit threes pretty decently. And
Batum goes to the Clippers for 2 years, $9.6 million.
Who did?
Huh?
Batum.
Oh. 2 years, $9.6 million.
See, Philly let go of him too. Yeah, I think Philly.
I don't know what they're doing picking these locations.
Philly and Dallas.
Tobias Harris picking Detroit and Batum picking the Clippers. I don't quite understand that, but
I don't know if they're picking it. Sort of just probably got the offer, right?
You sign the paper, you're picking that destination.
True. Yeah, man. Klay, I'm looking at the numbers. It's not great.
He's getting paid less and does more than Jakob Poeltl.
That's to be decided. I really don't think he will. I think he's going to be less than a Jakob Poeltl, and I mean that with
17 is more than 13.
But is it just points that we need? No, it's a full package. And when you're a liability on every other category, your 17 points don't matter compared to 13.
Well, I wish
right?
somebody would tell Jakob Poeltl not to be a liability.
Yeah, me too. But I'd still take him over Klay. You know?
Oh, that's close.
Like if anybody's doubting me, pull up Warriors 2024 or 23-24 season Klay Thompson highlights. Just remind yourself what's reality. Like he's not Klay Thompson of yesteryear. Do you think Klay would? Do you think he would leave, and Steph would let his splash brother leave if there was any part of Klay that was still there? You know what I mean? Like if he still had the Clayness that makes him a great basketball player, do you think they would have let him go? The dude
Well,
is,
no, but that's true of any player in any league.
but with this guy, he had to go because there's nothing left. And Golden State's like, hey man,
But also, there's nothing left in Golden State either.
I mean,
That's what everybody's overlooking. You're looking at a team that was 10th in the Western Conference last year.
yeah,
It's
I don't
over.
have, and yeah, Clay is over. Like his
The Warriors are done.
partly because of him being done, right? And so as the Mavs go, you're signing onto a dead ringer on a dead team and expecting that to help you. Like you're going the opposite direction. You're adding broken pieces to a team that was supposed to be going the other direction. You got rid of your young athletic guy who held down your defense more than anybody in your team. Derek Jones Jr. was their freaking defensive stopper. They wouldn't have made it to the NBA finals without that guy playing defense the way he did. You're telling me Clay's going to do that? And Derek Jones Jr. could hit the three at a decent clip. So it's just
When
bonkers.
did that happen? Please tell me, when did Derek Jones Jr.
When he was doing it against the Wolves, when he cooked them.
I saw that Celtic series. He looked horrible in that series.
Everybody looked horrible from the Mavs in that series. And it's not on your fourth best player at that stage. I think Luka having a meltdown on public television and then expecting that to be a guy that you'll play like go all out for. No, you don't know anything about leadership. Then if your leader is having a temper tantrum like a 4-year-old, then I'm sorry, but your army, your crew isn't going to be saddled up to rock with you. You know, they're not going to be the best versions of themselves.
I don't know.
I'm just going to pull up his.
I'm very interested to see what Clay's got left in the tank. Let's put it that way.
But we've got the evidence. Like, there's no This is what I don't get, man. It's like people are curious. Turn on last season. There's no missing footage. There's no hidden secrets here. The dude had ample, endless opportunity to show that he's still got a step. He doesn't have it. There's no curiosity to be.
It's interesting that you can make that argument about Clay, but when I make the argument about Draymond, you're quick to defend him because he's lost a step and a half. So, and he's been suspended multiple times. So tell me, why defend Draymond, who's lost even more of his game than Clay has,
I think Draymond would
and
contribute
yet
to
you can
winning
defend
more.
that versus Clay, who didn't do very well, but 17 points a game is still respectable. And I think Clay's got more left than Draymond does, and you're quick to defend him. So I'm gonna put you on the spot with that one, G.
It's a good bet, but I think that overall Draymond contributes when not. Let's put the pin for half a second because I know we can't discount it entirely, but his antics, and we're just talking basketball. If I had to choose between the two at this stage in the game of like who's going to contribute to a potential better season than last year, let's not even call it anything other than just better than last season. You're keeping Draymond and letting Clay go. Like it's just the facts. he can do more for you, Draymond, on those little intangible things than Clay can, because Clay can't defend right now at all. He can't run
Draymond's
at all.
lost a step and a half.
Yeah, but he can still run things intelligently better than most players in the NBA. Like he's got two things that don't go with age, right? He's got his IQ and his vocal slash toughness, let's call it. Things that don't age. Whereas Clay's biggest things were getting a shot off quicker than anybody and being a lockdown defender. He can't do either anymore.
I'd bet on Clay before I bet on Dre. That's all I'm saying.
That puts you in a minority because I think the Warriors had that opportunity, right? And they're just like,
Yeah, and I'm going to be straight with you, and you can keep the receipt if you want, but I'm going to be straight with you. I think the Warriors just made a bad bet
by letting him go.
over Draymond. Yes,
I mean, but think about if you're coming into next season with no Draymond and just Clay. So you're coming in with the guy that you bench regularly. Like Clay got benched regularly last season for being a liability on both ends. At least when Draymond was out, it was because he was doing the world a service and taking out tall Europeans left and right. You know what I'm saying? Taking a bow to the left, taking Rudy out with the choke. He was doing the world favors.
I don't know. I'm going to bet on Clay.
Overall,
you can hold that.
I think Clay's he doesn't have the mindset either. Let's be honest. His competitive attitude, he looked broken last season. He looked like, oh shit, I can't keep up. And when you have that look on your face,
Drake can't keep up neither.
But look how he responds. I'll take the biggest guy.
I'll put somebody in a chokehold. Great response.
Yeah, exactly.
Get yourself suspended. Go do your podcast for a couple of weeks.
Hey man, if it's between nothing and somebody, stirring shit up, I'll take the guy stirring shit up. At least he's doing something. Clay was doing nothing.
I will tell you this. I will remind you that you are paying Draymond like he's a superstar on that $100 million contract. You don't seem to factor that in either.
It's not a great contract, and I'm still just saying it's better than Clay's. Like I wouldn't say it's the great thing, but if it's between the two, Clay's checked out. He's retired. He's done. Draymond will drop dudes until the day he dies. Like if you need a guy that's going to stand up and fight for you,
keeping this receipt.
Here's the receipt. He's going to be relevant in terms of he's not going down without a fight. Draymond will go down swinging. We know that. Whether it's in the basketball team's interest, whether it's in anybody's interest or not, he's going to go down swinging. And I want to be on a team with a guy who goes down swinging, not sitting on the bench with his arms folded like somebody has wronged him after you went 0 for 10. It's like, it ain't their fault you went 0 for 10. Don't make it look like you're being wronged by somebody that has to bench you for doing, like, at least go down swinging, be a defender, be a guy that makes great passes, be a guy that does something other than just get all sour and sit at the end of the bench like, oh, you guys should respect me for the time I got 37 points in a quarter. It's like, yeah, that was 10 years ago. 10 years ago, man. And that's still the craziest thing ever. 37 points in a quarter. Oh my God. But that was 10 years ago.
Just hold on to this because I'm gonna say it again. Just for those in the back who didn't hear me, I think the Warriors made a bad bet, and I think we're gonna find that out come October.
I think the Mavs made the worst bet because just one last thing. If you can fit both of those egos inside the same building, that's already a win. So unless they have to, build a whole new stadium like Steve Ballmer, I think it'll be amazing if they can fit Cuban, Kyrie, Clay, and Doncic's
All right,
ego.
Roy, thanks for dropping in. If you hear anything else, please feel free to drop back in and let us know.
Yeah, well, I don't think there's enough room in the building or in Texas. I know Texas is big, but not for the size of those egos.
Man,
Are you telling me
I,
Clay's
I,
just a
I
chill guy these days? What Clay's not chill. He was a sourpuss that couldn't shoot or defend. It's
first of
pure
all, Draymond
legacy.
can't shoot either.
Again, just on Clay though
Don't
for a
sit there and
second.
act like Draymond can shoot the basketball because he can't.
No, nobody's acting like that. The only thing we're saying about Draymond is the dude goes down swinging, and he doesn't act like if he's not getting the ball that he's been wronged. That's a bad thing to have on your team. A guy that wants the ball, feels like he's wronged when he doesn't get it, but he can't put it in the net. That's the worst. That's the worst. At least Draymond knows he can't shoot. At least he knows he isn't the offensive guy. He knows his
Really?
role.
Because he shoots a lot for a guy who you claim knows he can't shoot.
He knows who he is. Clay does not.
Either way, he's not worth $100 million.
Yeah, that's the bad bet. Mavs sealed their future, I think, with that bet, to be honest.
I don't know. I think giving themselves the third scoring option is a good thing.
Let me know when they get it.
All right. All right. We're on the opposite ends of the spectrum. But I just think that they're going to create so much more space when you have a Derek Lively who can grab the boards. You have Kyrie and Luca going to get you 60 on most nights.
What's the
And then
difference
you got
between
Clay
Clay and
chipping in
Tim
with
Hardaway?
15. Huh?
What's the difference between Clay and Tim Hardaway?
Clay knows where the net is.
According to what? The 12th place team last year, where he was the secondary option, because he was trash and his team was trash.
Secondary option. There's the key word there. Secondary option. Clay's not going to be the
But
second
he
option.
wasn't even the second option. I shouldn't have said that, because was he the second option? No, he wasn't even starting some of the time. A lot of the time near the end of the season. Pochemski, a guy who was barely drafted, was starting over him. Yet he's going to help the Mavs? I don't follow the logic. You couldn't start for the 12th place team, and now you're going to start for the first or second place team and make them better. That logic doesn't add up.
The Mavs are a deeper team than the Golden State Warriors.
But you were a bench player on the 12th place team.
Yes.
So the bench player on the 12th place team
The depth is what I'm looking at here. There's going to be less pressure on Clay to perform, and he's going to get more open looks because of that.
How can you get less pressure than coming off the bench?
Because when you're in the
Clay was coming off the bench, bro.
When you're in the city that drafted you, people will always look at you differently, especially if you've created a winner.
Yeah. So going to Dallas as a loser?
No, going to Dallas as a role player is going to benefit Clay more than staying at home in Golden State, where they still expect you to be a champion when you're not a champion.
How about we expect you to play like a starter? Oh, you couldn't do that? Then why would we take you on the first best team and expect you to be a contributing
Because he's not
player?
the second option anymore.
He wasn't the second option when you're coming off the bench. That is by definition sixth. He was the sixth option for most of the season last year on the 12th place team, and you're telling me this guy is going to make the first team in the West better by starting for them, even though he was coming off the bench on a non-playoff team.
Start. I didn't say start. When did I use the word start?
You said he would be a third option or something like that.
Yeah, he will be the third option when those three guys are on the floor.
Yeah, so is that implying
he might even
be
fourth behind? He might even be fourth behind Lively.
So you're going to put $100 million on a non-starter?
They didn't put $100 million on him. They put $50 million.
50 a year or 50 for two?
for 3 years.
50
So
million
3
for 3
divided by
years.
50 is what, 17 million, just a shade under 17 million? That's not bad considering what the Raptors are paying Jakob Poeltl.
I'd take Pirtle. At least he can start.
Only
Dude.
when absolutely necessary.
Pirtle's our starter, 100%. He started the entire thing.
That's sad.
Is it? When
Yes, it
Clay,
is.
think about
When
this though.
Jakob Poeltl is your starting center, that's sad.
I think you're missing the bigger picture here, man. Clay Thompson on the Golden State Warriors. He's a golden boy. They would start him if he was anywhere near starting capacity, but they had to bench him because he wasn't good enough to play on the starting lineup of the Golden State Warriors. Golden State, as you've repeated, was trash. This guy wasn't good enough to start on a trash team. And you're telling me 17 million a year is a good bet on a guy from a trash player on a trash team is a good bet. I don't get it. Golden State wouldn't have benched this dude unless they had to. He's a golden boy there. They wouldn't have
That's
benched
not
him.
true because they keep Draymond playing, and Draymond needs to be benched more than anybody.
Just talking Clay here. And Clay was a bench player on the 12th best team of the West. And
Yeah,
it
and
wasn't by like, oh, he's injured or he's got a personality conflict. It was that he was not good enough to play on the starting lineup of the Golden
I'm
State
betting on
Warriors.
Clay. That's all I'm saying.
Hey, man, that makes two of you. You and him. And I
It
guess
might
the
be a
Mavs.
fool's bet. It may be a fool's bet, but I'm betting on Clay.
Hey, man, his best friend and team wasn't even willing to bet on him. So that makes you a very strong believer.
I'm not saying he's going to go out and get 30 every night. I'm saying he'll contribute more than a Draymond, which was my whole point in this whole discussion, because Draymond is about as useful as a wet paper towel in December after it's been left out in the snow for 6 months.
I guess, but I would argue that that's still more valuable than Clay because at least you can start it.
Can you though?
Oh yeah, they're a professional team. Like they wouldn't start people unless, like, at a certain point, favors go out the window. Like they were starting Clay as long as they could. Then they're like, hey, as much as we love you and as much as this is brutal, we have to bench you now. So same thing with Draymond. And if his position was, if he was playing his position so badly,
Which
they
he
would have to
was.
bench him. No, they would bench him if he was playing that badly because they benched their
No,
favorite guy. Why would they do Draymond a favor just out of niceness and not Clay? No, because he was actually playing up to his standard of what he needed to start.
It's a low standard.
Yeah, and just think how low it had to be for them to bench Clay.
You can't have $25 million tied up in a standard that is that low.
Yeah, I guess, but the Dallas Mavs just signed on to a 17.5 of one that was even lower because the standard for Clay was even lower and he couldn't meet it. It's a crazy bet. I don't think I think because of the name recognition, people are like, oh yeah, but it's like, man, name recognition doesn't put the ball in the net.
We'll see.
Keegan Murray, that dude is Clay 10 years ago. Is anybody talking about Keegan Murray? No. But he is 100 times better than Clay right now. And people are just going to go, oh, whatever. But this is name recognition, right? This is the fool's gold. It's like Clay is beyond fool's gold. He's a statue of what, somebody used to be. And he was one of the greatest. But now there's a whole lot of young dudes that can play and do a lot of the same things that he used to do. And they had a guy that was taller, longer, faster, and could probably hit the same clip of threes, and they sent him away for what? Name recognition. It goes back to your thing of Dallas is just trying to look like they're trying to win more than they're actually trying to win. Because I bet you Doncic said, oh, I need a better shooter. I need some real shooters. All right.
Which he does. which he does. He's not lying.
Yeah, but you didn't get one. You know what I'm
We'll
saying?
see.
Like, sure,
You
yeah, you
can't
need
do
one.
any worse than Derek Jones Jr.
Well,
just
they
did.
just did. They just did. They took a guy that couldn't start. At least Derek Jones could start.
We'll have to wait and see. I think it was a good bet.
We'll mark this one
But
down on the
I've been
calendar.
wrong before, and I'm not afraid to be wrong again. But I think it was a good bet.
This one I think is going to be a tough one. I think Dallas is going to have its struggles to get back to any point of relevance next year. I think they had their
Dallas
shot.
is gonna have its struggles. Oh, G
Yeah,
flying out the gate here.
because
Okay, so
guess
let
who's
me ask
suiting
you
up
this.
right now?
Let's quantify this. For Clay to have a respectable season, what are you looking at for Clay for his $17 million?
Realistically,
And I'm not
based
talking first team NBA. I'm talking about
first team
a season where
NBA
you'd be like, that's a respectable year for Clay Thompson.
in 2024-25, like with realistic
Yes.
standards of what today is.
What are your realistic expectations for Clay Thompson?
14.5 points at best. Like at best, and being a liability on defense, and being a guy that probably takes more shots than
Okay,
others.
so let me put it to you like this: if Clay averages 16 points and 7 assists, would those be respectable enough numbers to justify Clay's year?
I don't think he's getting 7 assists.
I'm just throwing numbers out. I want to gauge where your respectability
Are we
meter
just
is.
talking points, or are we talking relevance to the whole game, right? Like how he boxes
Well,
out.
if we're talking relevance to the whole game, even Luka looks like a joke because he
Exactly.
got torched by the Celtics on 67% of his blow-bys.
Thank you for joining my side so quickly. The Dallas Mavs
No,
got there by
what I'm saying is, how do you quantify Clay's season as successful? I don't think the Dallas Mavericks are going to be successful.
I don't think Clay's got an opportunity to have a successful season.
Ooh.
I don't think he has the capacity. He can't play defense and he can't get his shot off. What you gonna do? What are you gonna do for me? I hired you to play good basketball, but you can't play either end the way I want you to. What am I expecting? It's unfair of me to expect you to do anything. So I don't think there's a scenario that he actually is an impact player, unless he goes completely ballistic and is like, oh, I was injured last year and now I'm back, baby. You don't have to, like, I get my shots off. Don't worry. You don't have to set 3 screens for me
That's what I'm
just to
saying.
get a shot off.
That's what I'm saying.
That's make believe. That's not
if
reality.
he comes out and averages 24, what?
Hey man, and if I make the Bandits next year, it'll be a great season for everybody. But hey man, I get tired pretty quick these days, and so does Clay. Like, there's not a
Closest we're
scenario.
gonna get is watching the Bandits in a couple of weeks, or in about a week.
Yeah, but I don't think there's a scenario where he is successful, and it's just not in the tank. It's just that's why the Warriors couldn't sign him. Like he when you win 4 championships with somebody, how bad do you have to be to get
So
let
is the
go?
number 20?
I don't know if
There's
I
a
can give you
number in
one.
your.
But like, it
There
would
is a
have to be that
number
he's
in.
actually useful. Can you show me that you're
There,
actually useful?
there is a number in your head
I don't
that I
think
know
so.
you have.
I don't think so, because there's none that I can think of that would actually be realistic, number one. And if it was something like 14 to 16 points, who's to say that those 8 points aren't garbage points? And does that define success? No. So for him to be successful, he has to show that he can help me win. And he hasn't shown that. Like, that's the Warriors would not let a 4-time champion go if they felt in any way he could help them win.
But I don't think the Warriors believe they can win anymore.
Well, definitely not with Clay.
I think the Warriors is presently constructed are even worse than they were last
year. Yeah. I mean, they haven't added anything, right? They've lost some, but that's addition by subtraction, not much. Like, at least you don't have to waste those minutes on Clay now. That's good.
See, I like that addition by subtraction because you stole that from me, but that's okay.
It's not part of my whole thinking. It's in there now. Yeah, man. I think it's a long road for these old shooters. 34-year-old 3-point marksman, man. Like, PG and Klay Thompson got paid, but those teams, I think, are going to be in a world of hurt.
Yeah, but at least PG proved he can still put the bucket in.
Yeah, but he's getting paid big money.
I'm guessing Clay's a 50-50 shot here, but I'm betting on the 50% that is Klay Thompson.
Yeah, the Warriors tried. It's sort of like if this was 3 years ago and the question was up, like, oh, yeah, but it's like the Warriors did exactly what you're doing now. Of like, let's bet on Clay. Let's give him a little bit more leeway. Let's see if he can do it. And it's like every time, no, it's done. And so now it's going to go to somewhere else, and it's going to be different. It's like, no, the team that loves him gave him as many chances as anybody will give you. He just wasn't able to succeed. And now we're expecting different. Like, that's just pink glasses, I think. And I wish I could say otherwise.
I think Clay's got something left. I can't explain it. And this is weird for you guys who don't listen to the At the Buzzer podcast, because usually we're on the opposite ends of this. Usually it's me spitting facts like G's doing right now, and G's the guy that's kind of, well, it could work, it might happen, and we've kind of role reversal here a little bit on the Klay Thompson issue.
And I understand why you have that feeling, because it's Clay. It's a guy that's like, man, when you in your image of him, you think it's just a guy that hits threes. So it's hard not to think of him as anything else, unless you watched a bunch of Golden State games last year.
I did.
Yeah,
I did.
It's enough for anybody to have seen the other side of it, right? It's like, all right, we have more memories of Clay being great than last season, but the freshest ones in our mind, I think, are harder to forget for some than others.
No, I acknowledge last year was a down year.
The years aren't getting shorter. Like, it's not getting younger.
And maybe it's blind faith, like you said, but I'm counting on Clay for at least 21. 21 and 5.
Maybe. But what does the other end give you? And does that make any sense at all for the Dallas Mavericks? Like, was their issue shooting?
Yes, it was.
If you had to name one issue that you could fix with the Dallas Mavericks from last year.
Huh?
If you could fix one issue or address one issue, what would it have been from last year, Dallas Mavericks team?
Eric Jones Jr. shooting in the playoffs.
Bullshit. What was the one thing that you'd change?
Not see him against the Celtics?
Bro, give you one more chance. What's the one thing that you would change about the Mavericks from last season to make them more competitive?
Well, their whole team is a defensive liability.
Thank you.
But I still don't like Derrick Jones Jr. shooting. That was horrendous.
All right. we'll let Derek Jones lie for a minute, but the one thing that was the reason for them.
Well, you heard me say Luca got torched two out of every 3 times he was on the defensive end.
Okay, so you're
And
on the
Luca
same
not the
page.
king.
So you're on the same page as me. Now, follow. We get rid of the best defender on the court.
Who couldn't shoot to save his life.
How much do you want the brother to do? At least he's defending. How about Luca stops somebody once? That keeps it competitive, wouldn't it? You know, you don't have to score as many fucking threes if you don't get beat off the ball every single time, to the point where there's Twitter compilation videos of you looking like the oldest dude at the pickup league that is hung over and unable to even keep up, and you're like, oh shit, that guy is out. That is your problem if you're the Mavericks, getting rid of your youngest, most athletic defender in place of a broken, non-proven shooter from last year. Can't defend, guaranteed not getting younger, and that's the issue that they thought was the thing. And I guarantee that was a Doncic thing, because that was in his interviews. He's like, oh, our defense is fine. We're just a little low on offense.
Our defense is fine.
Like that, he said that to Malika Andrews, and he looked at her in the eyes and said, defense is not our issue. And this was after the second game, I think.
Well, he's delusional. Number one.
And so is, the front office.
But I'm glad Derek Jones Jr. is gone, because I couldn't stand that guy.
At least he does something. Like Luka and Kyrie are supposed to be
shot
the
them
offense.
out of the game. Every time the Mavs would come close, he'd take a shot and it'd be bricked, and you'd be like, "Oh well, there goes the comeback."
If anybody in their right mind thinks that Derek Jones is the reason the Mavs lost, you got to be.
I'm not saying that he's the reason they lost, but he's a momentum killer on the offensive end.
Mm-hmm. I just don't think, when it's not your role, like you're not expected to be
If
the
that's
prime
not
time
your role,
shooter.
don't shoot the ball.
Well, when you're wide open, you have to, right? But
that's not your role, though. You're open for a reason. Don't shoot the ball.
Could be, but most guys will have to take that shot no matter what, right? If you're open and you traditionally shoot a good clip.
There's my point right there. I would rather Clay miss that shot than somebody else.
Well, so he can not get back on defense when he misses. Like, there's basketball to be played here. This isn't a 3-point shootout. When he misses, the other team goes the other way and scores because he's too slow to get back. It's like, I'd rather somebody that can miss and still get back on defense than somebody that misses, because he does, and not get back on defense. Like, it's still a net gain to have Derek Jones.
Because you've got your computer nearby, right? Tell me a favor real quick. Just look up Clay's 3-point percentage, because I swear to you, I don't know what it is. I just want to know what the percentage is
from last year
on Clay's 3-point shot last year. Because I have no idea what it is. I'm curious.
Let's see. Regular
this is
season.
Above 30.
Oh, yeah. 38.
38% from the 3-point line.
Yet we had to bench you. We had to bench you on the Golden State Warriors.
I don't remember Derek Jones Jr. shooting 38%.
I don't remember having to bench Derek Jones Jr.
They should have.
But they didn't. He shot 34.
38's more than 34.
Not by much. And when you're expected to be like, okay, if Clay 4% better, that's not better than being 35% worse on defense and 30% worse on rebounds and 40% worse on speed. Those don't add up. 4% better on your threes, yet every other category you're trash. Fool's gold. Beyond fool's gold. Foolish.
I don't like Derek Jones Jr. because he shut them out of so many games in the playoffs.
Well, at least he played defense.
But Derek Jones Jr. is gone now anyway, so
Yeah, he's probably happy to be moving on.
oh
I
goodness.
wouldn't want to play with Doncic, man. Not for a second.
Oh no. Here are my top 5 list of players that I wouldn't want to play with. Are you ready?
Yo, Derek
In no
Jones is
particular order, because I'm not gonna go through that. LeBron James, Luka Doncic, Kawhi Leonard, Paul George, and number 5 that goes to John Morant. I don't want to play with any of those 5 dudes, and they're all superstars.
Oh, here's another stat for you. Derek Jones
Oh, you have a
shot
stat?
30. So he shot the same as Clay in the playoffs. He shot 37% from 3, Derek Jones. And he was a defensive stopper, and his field goal percentage was 48%. And he got
Clay doesn't shoot jumpers from inside the 3-point line.
Clay doesn't do anything.
I don't know. 38% sounds pretty good for me from 3-point line.
Maybe for the 14th best team in the West, because it wasn't good enough for the 12th best team. And he averaged 30 minutes a game. I don't know if Clay can even give you 30 minutes.
He'd give you 20 to 25.
Ooh. It's right across the board to me that you're just, it's not a winning trade or swap, if you want to say. Like, if you wanted to get better, why didn't you get something that helps your weakness? 38%, as you just said, isn't bad. So 38% from 3 isn't your weakness. Luka Garza is returning to the Minnesota Timberwolves. Kyle Anderson could be leaving the Minnesota Timberwolves. And how do you not like Derek Jones's dunks, man? He took more alley-oops and dunks than just about
I didn't
anybody.
say anything about Derek Jones's dunks.
His name is Airplane Mode. Clay.
Because he doesn't do anything?
Airplane Mode? That's a good one. That's a good one. No, because he could jump higher than everybody. You could call Clay the captain of...
You know why they call him airplane mode? Because as soon as you turn him sideways, the game over. He doesn't do anything.
Yeah, we got to find something better for Clay. What's his nickname? Captain, what's his boating nickname? Didn't he become all like a sailor or something like that? I think it's like when Ray Allen went to the Heat, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Except it's a different day when athleticism means more than it did when Ray Allen played. And when there's guys that can jump over Clay like Derek Jones, it's going to be a tough sell. I'm pretty sure Derek Jones is 6'9", and
I don't know, my guy. Even my brother, who's a Mavs fan, said it's another gamble player with Clay. But the last time the Mavs gambled on Kyrie, it worked out pretty good, didn't it?
Yes and no. Right? I think yes, obviously with the Kyrie bet, but yeah, I don't know if that was like because of the Mavs. I think that was almost because he got his shit together, you know. and stopped, worrying about.
I love how you got alternate routes to get places where you want to go.
I mean, with the Mavs, do you give them credit for somebody turning their lives around on their own? Like, I don't think they knew that Kyrie was going through or like they had a inkling that he was going to transform his entire life to be a mature, stable person. I think they took a gamble on it because that was all that was available at the time, and it was better than nothing. And it was like, hey, we got to keep Luka happy somehow, and Kyrie's out there, so let's just grab him and hope for the best. That to me doesn't scream strategic mastery, or the fact that your
So if
organization
the
is
Mavs
super good.
Mavs resurrect Clay, do they get more credit then?
Big time.
Is my
Big
question.
time. Big time. Big time. I'll take my hat off. Absolutely.
So once is a fluke, but if they repeat it, then we get the hat tip from G.
Yeah, that's how it goes, right? Like patterns and flukes, like you have to repeat something, and if it's not repeatable, it was a fluke.
Is there anything else we need to discuss? Well, we're on the live stream here for NHL and NBA free agency. And the reason you're getting kind of an inside look at the At the Buzzer podcast is simply because everything's kind of slowed down on both ends of the free agency market now that it's past noon. All the news was this morning, or the majority of the heavy news. So I'll ask you this, G. Who made the best move of free agency and who's made the worst move of free agency?
Well, you might have an inkling as to my two choices here. Oh, God.
I'm guessing I might, but I want it on the record.
All right, so I think the Raptors have the best signings of free agency. I'm just gonna go with the home team on this one because there's none of the other moves I can really think of that are that outstanding. So I think either the Derek White signing him, that's a nice respectful thing to do for a guy that was a winner, just an absolute winner for you. So I like that. And I like the Raptors signing. If they end up signing quickly, I like, putting that pen to paper. I think that's a really good one with Scotty of just like, hey, give us a shot at building something from, let's begin again and see where this goes. So Scotty's a good bet. He's a young man that has a lot of talent and potential. So I like the Raptors draft picks too. So combine that with their free agency moves, and I like their thing. And then on the other side, I think the Mavs are gonna. It's a flip of the coin, right? Like I'm willing to, like I said, tip the cap if there's a resurrection, and would be super impressed, and don't think it's not impossible. Like it's possible, but my instincts and sort of math brain are saying, nah, that's a lot of hoping, but it's not as bad as spending 200 million on something that is almost guaranteed to not work out, and that's the Philly. Right? Like, show me evidence. Show me the evidence of anything that would say this is going to work out.
The Miami Heat of 15
had a 400-pound center.
So my
Embiid's,
best move is going to be an
yeah,
underrated one because I know they're not going anywhere, but I think this will be an imprint on the Spurs organization. I like the fact that they went out and got Chris Paul. I
yeah,
think he'll be a
honestly,
good
yeah.
mentor. I think he'll be a good mentor for that group. I really like that pickup. I know they're not going anywhere and nobody will notice it in 3 years, but I think as far as that Spurs squad is concerned, I like the Chris Paul pickup.
It reminds me of the Van Vliet to Houston one last year that ended up being great for them, right? You bring in a proven leader, a real one, a guy that just knows his way around the league and being a leader. And
That's what I mean. I think the Spurs made a sneaky good pickup there on the Chris Paul. That will be felt years after he's retired.
mm,
I like that move. I tend to agree with you the more that I think about it on Philly. I think they're headed towards a disaster zone
it's
because
yeah.
you go on past reputation too, right? Paul George is a steady Freddy in the regular season, but doesn't tend to show up in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm. And by the playoffs,
And we saw
Embiid is
what happened with
battered.
Tyrese Maxey. Tyrese Maxey can't carry the load by himself without Joel Embiid, and you're relying on Joel to be healthy. And
Yeah,
Joel is never healthy.
exactly. So why wouldn't you build depth, right? Why wouldn't you grab a Hardenstein, a DeRozan, a KCP, all of them for the same price of one Paul George, who might get injured too, right? We're assuming this guy's going to be in perfect health.
It's been an interesting day for sure.
At least he made a choice. At least he went somewhere. It's just, will that be a successful one? Let me ask you this though: would if you had your choice of cities, would you go to Philadelphia with the one with
No,
the crowd like that? Like they're just disrespectful, to their own
I
people.
wouldn't. I wouldn't go to Philly. I wouldn't go to Boston.
Yeah,
I for some reason I love the cities like Indiana.
Denver,
I love Toronto. I love cities that get behind their teams. So
Sacramento.
even when you talk about a city like Los Angeles, I probably wouldn't go there either because it's all the Hollywood elites, and I'd rather be playing for basketball fans if that makes any sense.
And the only important elite isn't even there anymore. Jack Nicholson, right?
Yeah, that's weird that he's not at the games anymore.
I think he's had health issues for quite a while, but glad that he's still alive. But I think he's had
But
serious
we
health
always miss
issues.
Jack. We always miss Jack at
He's
the
the
crypt.
best. He's the best. Yeah. But
It's like
what?
Marv.
Go ahead.
It's like Marv Albert, right? If NBC picked up the games for next season and Marv was still alive, and an 86-year-old Marv said, "I want to call a basketball game," you're not gonna say no to Marv.
What about AI? What happens when they start bringing Marv back to life? You know what I'm saying? That they can do that with the AI, like mimicking people's voices so good now. What happens when they bring him back to
Actually,
life?
man, G, I'll tell you something. I have this program called the script, which you've seen me use for the captions that we have from
Oh
time
yeah,
to time, right?
yeah.
And it can actually clone my voice. So if I put a script in there, I can I can actually feed it the script and have it read it in my voice after it's been all edited. It's kind of creepy. It's kind of creepy, but it's there.
But that's the world we live in. Hey, we haven't talked about the Bridges signing.
Oh, please, let's get to that, shall we?
Yeah, I think real quickly, right?
I don't know how quick it's gonna be, but let's go.
What was it, like 5 first round picks or something like that?
That is ridiculous. Okay, here's the thing, and I love you, Mikhail Bridges. You are not worth 4 first-round picks. You are not.
No, but
Somebody overpaid for you.
that was it. I think they knew they overpaid, and it was on purpose. Of like, hey, when you really want something, you often have to overpay because you're not going to wait for the sale. You're not going to wait for.
Not at the stupidity of your franchise.
With this one, I think they didn't have a choice because of the model they're going after with Villanova 2.0, right? Like they're one step away from firing Thibodeau and bringing in the Villanova coach, right? Like one step
What
away.
happened to Wright? Did Wright end up staying in Villanova?
Well, shit, maybe he's just waiting for the call. Because
By the way, did I mention Dan Hurley is the smartest man in basketball for turning down the Lakers?
oh yeah, and
I just
honestly,
want that on the record.
getting Bridges will put the final Thibodeau test to the thing, because his whole team every year gets injured by overplaying. Right? It's not because of freak accidents. It's not because they're old. It's because they get overplayed minutes every single year. Stephen A always gets upset at Kawhi, the worst superstar ever, never around. Well, how about your team is never healthy by the time playoffs come around because of your coach? So at least they got a guy with Bridges who's the most durable, plays every game, doesn't miss a practice. But if he
See, I
does,
understand where Stephen A is coming from, though.
yeah, but you got to look in your own backyard too and ask, well, why isn't my team healthy ever when it comes to, because that's the
Well,
thing.
Tibbs should.
If it's when it matters most, well, then you're equally guilty as Kawhi, because half your team, more than half your team wasn't able to play.
Tibbs should never have a job in the NBA. Is that fair to say?
Totally.
You're not winning with Tibbs.
And you're hurting your long-term shot, because somebody's going to get brutally injured at some point from overplaying, I think. Maybe it'll be Brunson this year and maybe next year, but you can't play guys 45 minutes.
You can't. No.
Yeah,
Especially not when you're up by 12 with 2 minutes to go. You gotta have faith in somebody to shut that down.
Yeah, and they let their guys go too that could do that, right? So again, they're falling victim to the shiny things rather than cold logic, right? They want to get the boy band back together, get the fellas, It's like, this is business, this is basketball. You can't all be just best friends and all this legend and all this stuff. I think New York fell victim to its own legend again when they finally had something going a little bit, and now they had to make it Disneyland, they had to make it bring in the other guy, and I think it's going to be a tough one.
Which is the opposite than what New York is known for. They're known for the Charles Oakleys and the JYDs and all these tough, rugged New York style players. And then they went the opposite way with Villanova.
Yeah, and they're trying to create the image of them being the tough guys, and Josh Hart, he's Iron Man, and Mikal Bridges, Iron Man #2, he's never missed a game. Like, they're trying to build that reputation, like, oh, Brunson just takes a hit like nobody else, and it's like,
but you either got that dog in you or you don't, and that's not something that can be manufactured.
Yeah, and so you say Knicks don't got it?
No.
Yeah.
The one guy that has it is Jalen Brunson.
Yeah, I agree.
But they haven't built a team around Jalen Brunson's skill set that would make him successful.
You know who would have actually helped? You're gonna love this. Clay or Paul George.
That's true.
That's, to me, that I would have said those were great. If either one had went there, I'd be like, that makes sense, because that's exactly what they need. They've got defense. They got the other things. They need a pure scorer.
I wonder how much of this free agency thing is money versus winning, right?
For players or for teams?
For players, like just if you're Paul George and you're sitting there, and let's say you have what did he get, $212 million deal from Philly? Okay, let's say the offer from New York was about 190, right? And you fit better in New York, but you got a $212 million offer from the 76ers. And it might be a disaster in Philly because the fans will turn on you quick. But in New York, you'll make less money, but you'll be a better fit. How much do you think the money versus the wanting to win factors in?
Too much, unfortunately. And I think it's too much money to say no to. I just think there's nobody that can break their human mind away from the number of like, oh, did I just say no to $20 million? Because when you're making that kind of money, you know what that can get you, right? So when you're saying no to 20 million, it's like, damn, for what? For a slightly different city and like, I would, come sitting here with $0, but yeah, I'd go with the winning side rather than the money. But when it comes to somebody like Paul George, I think he's like a lot of them, where it's just, you're asking me to say no to 20 million. I can't do that, no matter what. I'll say no to 200,000 or a million, maybe 2 million, but 20, I don't think that even enters their brain.
It just becomes automatic.
Yeah. Like, oh, it's too bad that nobody else was able to offer me this number. It's like, I have to accept this type of thing because nowhere's even close. Like, all right,
That's
enjoy
an
Philly.
interesting take.
But
Huh?
yeah, maybe there's some other guys that have different value systems that could override that. I just don't know if they exist in the
You
NBA
don't
right
see it
now.
happen.
Yeah, I don't see it. Yeah.
All
Have you?
right, man. Well, I think we've covered everything that we need to cover today on the draft or the free agency hangout session.
Hey, no doubt, man. You've been holding this sucker down for 4 hours. That's amazing.
4 hours I've been here today.
Yo,
I don't know if I got any spit left.
that's called putting in time.
Well, I did promise the boys that the network would get back on track, and I'm doing my best to stick to that.
Hey, man. Yeah, and we'll have to get that movie one going. There's a couple movies that I was thinking that you'd be into. I watched I watched Batman Begins last night, and then the night before I watched this classic '80s film that you got to see if you haven't seen it, called Thief with James Caan.
I have not seen it. I've done all the Batman movies.
Oh, sick! Yeah, you got to see Thief, man. I'll try to find a link or something because it's like, oh, it's so good. It's so
Although
good.
I will tell you this though, that Batman series that I did was the first movies that I've ever put on the channel.
Oh,
So those
crazy.
are my worst videos. I'm not gonna
Okay.
lie.
Okay. Hey, good. We'll have to do a redo of The Begins, because I just watched that one last night and it was better than I remembered. I remembered it being good, but I was.
Yeah, Batman Begins doesn't get enough credit because The Dark Knight is historic. And because of The Dark Knight's historical relevance, the Batman Begins kind of gets overshadowed. And it's also lucky for The Dark Knight Rises that The Dark Knight was so good, because the badness of that one kind of gets overshadowed as well.
Yeah.
Other than the line where he's like, "You just adopted the darkness. I was born into it." That
Yes.
everybody remembers,
Like,
which is the
oh
only
shit.
line which is the only line from that movie that anybody can tell you is
Straight
the
up.
is the Bane line, because that movie was not good.
No, I'm scared to watch it a little bit, but I'm like, hey, maybe it'll be better than I remember, right?
Maybe it'll be better than I remember too. As a matter of fact, I think it was better when I did those videos like 3 years ago.
Hmm.
Maybe I gave it a better review than I am right now. I don't know. I have a tough time going back and watching my own videos. Does that make any sense?
Oh yeah. Yeah. You've already thought those thoughts.
Like, I don't remember what I said in those reviews or anything, but
Yeah.
I have a very tough time going back and watching my old stuff.
Yeah, it makes sense. I think because you've already thought those things. Like, it's not news to you, the things that you're saying. So it'd be like, unless you're editing, it's hard to just listen to thoughts that you've already had, right? It's like, oh, I've already thought these things. Yeah.
But I would be interested to see. I should go back and watch that Batman Begins review again,
Oh yeah,
just to see if it lines up with my opinion of it now. Because I
and
think I
just
was
see,
more positive about it back then than I am now.
Hmm. And it'd be good for you to see too the difference of like your voice and production and all of that. See how far you come, eh?
Well, there was no production. It was just me on a laptop, like with no green screen, no studio setup, nothing. Like this studio setup is pretty good, and I didn't have any of that. It was just me in my basement filming videos. So maybe we'll have a Batman Begins discussion video on the movie channel.
Hell
But
yeah.
also, if you do watch the movie channel, the next one coming out is Rookie of the Year. That'll drop on Monday, the 1993 baseball comedy with the kid from American Pie in it. And then and then the next one after that will be Transformers Rise of the Beasts.
Ooh. Which
That'll
number is
come out
that?
on Thursday. Huh?
Which number is that?
6,000, I think. I've lost count of the Transformers. That's why I named them by their title, because I don't know
Yeah,
which one.
that's fair.
And then for you animation fans, I did an extremely goofy movie, and that'll come out next Monday.
Which one's that?
So I've got 3 movies already lined up, ready for you guys to go
Beauty. Busy week
on the movie channel.
for travel as you go, hey?
Hmm?
It'd be some good stuff to watch while you're traveling down to the big city here.
Yeah, well, I like to have content like to keep going while I'm on vacation.
Mm-hmm.
I because if I stay on routine, then you notice the YouTube channels do better. It's when I get lazy and I'll be like, oh, I'm on vacation and I got nothing to post and I'm hanging out with people. That's when the YouTube channel suffers.
Life
But
getting in
as
the
you can
way.
see, huh?
Life getting in the way, hey?
Yeah, as you can see, I updated the Mo Money Sports Network logo. It's cleaner. It's a heck of a lot nicer. There's a new banner up on the YouTube page as well, the YouTube channel. I don't know if you've seen the actual banner
Oh
of
no, I'll
the
have to
Sports
check that.
Network.
Yeah, I'll have to check
But
that. I haven't seen the new one.
but that's
Yeah.
also cleaner and nicer as well.
Awesome. Awesome,
So
man.
I've upgraded the look of the Sports Network. I got tired of the dark blue and the you could barely see the athletes and you couldn't make them out even if you tried.
Oh yeah. Hey man, it's refining it. I dig it.
So we
And
got the new
it's easy.
logo, the new channel banner.
Oh yeah.
We got all 4 sports represented in there, so you know that I cover everything.
And we got a new Bandits broadcast coming up.
Yeah, I guess I have to bring money for a bandit shirt or something.
Or just keep your eyes open and arms open because they fire those suckers out of a cannon pretty regularly.
You took care of the tickets, right? So
Yeah.
I guess that means I'm in line for the snacks, which is cool with me.
Hey,
So we're
sounds
all
good
good
to
there.
me. Heck yeah, man. For
And
Saskatchewan Rattlers.
that's on Sunday, right?
Yep.
I
Doors
see we lost
2:30.
the huh?
Doors at 2:30.
On a Sunday.
Yeah.
All right. And then I'm glad I missed the game against the Stingers because that looked horrible. I
That
saw the
was
highlights against the Edmonton Stingers.
oh yeah. Yeah. That was we got a redemption game against them on Friday. But I think my brother was at the one there. Was it last night?
Was it last night or the night before?
Maybe the night before, yeah. Uh,
But anyway, what are your hopes for the Bandits? Are they a playoff team? Are they
champs.
make you think they're a playoff team? What is the story with the Bandits there as we talk a little CEBL
I think
here on free agent?
I think they're one of the best, if not the best team in the CEBL this year. I think they've got one guy that's like, yeah, there's something about him that's not just talent. That's like, oh, he is fun to watch. He's infectious. Like he loves life and basketball, and he's by far the best player on the floor every time I've been in there. And he makes
Mhm.
the team better. Like he just thrives on, because it's almost like so easy for him, right? That he can just get guys open, and they've been hitting their shots. And this guy, man, is number 4. He played on Houston, the university, I think, a year or two ago, and was their backup guard or something like that. But he's sensational. So with him at the helm and some really good shooters around him, it's a tough team to beat. And they've got a good guy in the middle too that's kind of like an Embiid, and he's fun to
Yeah.
watch. But they've got a great team. I think they're, from what I've seen,
Would you say they're contenders?
yeah, borderline favorites.
He says they got swiped by the Edmonton Stingers.
Yeah, they're going to lose a game or two. That's going to happen, no doubt. They beat them. What was that? I think the first week. Just trying to find their.
I was thinking about doing a recap video for these free agencies, like 2 separate ones, one for the NHL and one for the NBA. But I think we covered pretty much the gamut
I mean, yeah, if you're able
on
to
this.
grab some snippets and make like a, uh, yeah, I don't know what, like a summary video from the 4 hours, that's always good. But I don't know if there's a program or something that does that.
No, I don't think so. But I think this will be it for the live stream portion. I've been at this for darn near 4 hours today. Uh, if you're still here, or if you've been here, or if you see this later, thanks for joining us. As G can probably tell, my voice is starting to fade on me here after 4 hours of broadcast. Um, do I bring my equipment for an at the buzzer in the city?
If it's not too complicated, or troublesome, then for sure. But otherwise, I can probably sort us out with whatever we need here. I got extra
All
mics
right.
and laptop and all that stuff. So if it's too much
You
a
got an
hassle,
extra laptop? That's gonna be weird that we're gonna be in the same room, but we'll still be on laptops. But yeah.
oh yeah, yeah. Oh,
But if you
you
got
know,
an
I guess.
extra laptop and an extra mic, I don't really have to.
Well, I've got an extra mic. Do I have an extra laptop? I'll have to look into that. I've got an extra. Hmm,
We'll
yeah,
figure it out.
yeah. We got a little
We'll
bit of
figure it
time
out.
here.
And if we get some clips from the bandits for the podcast, that'd be awesome. I don't know how we'd go about that, but that'd be awesome.
Ask forgiveness. Not permission at this stage.
You bet. And
Eh,
my my voice is getting tired, G. Otherwise, I'd hang out here all day long.
Hey man, no doubt, and I gotta get a little stuff together. The Bandits are actually playing tonight against Niagara, who's supposed to be a top team. So that's in
All
a
right,
couple hours. I'll let you know how it goes.
all right. Text me the score in that game. I will see you on Sunday afternoon. I'm guessing
Oh,
is that game. That
yeah.
game is.
If not sooner,
I'll have
when
the debit card, so I'll
hey,
cover the snacks.
they
And you
got
know
good.
how it goes for the Bistro of Basketball Knowledge.
That's right.
My
That's right.
my buddy G over there, and for myself, the leader of the Mo Money Sports Network, which is probably why our attendance is low. Just kidding. Uh, Roy says, "Old man nap time." Probably, Roy. As you can tell, my voice is starting to fade here.
Respect
So
the hustle.
until next time, may your ego come from a place that keeps you humble. It's the Sports Network for the sports fan. I am Mo Money. Mamba out.